Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah.
What happened to that?
Hey, we're live.
How you doing? How you doing?
We have a show going on before the show.
Yeah.
And so we're sorry for the interruption.
And it just popped up.
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
I gotta tell you guys.
Tuesday, All-Star game.
Woo!
Later tonight.
Yeah, I
Go
don't
ahead,
really,
Bull.
I don't care, but I gotta tell you, get the camera to me. I've had a rough morning, and I've got to share it with you. I had my prostate checked this morning.
Yeah.
So this day got off to a very unpleasant start.
Woo.
My hair's too long. I need a haircut. That's a mess. But let me tell you, and then the doctor says I got to get this procedure done where he puts something up the you-know-what.
Yeah.
The front part, not the back part.
Oh, the front part. That's the worst part.
Wow.
Is that a
I need a
metaphor
second
that catcher's
opinion.
mitt right there?
Wait,
It is.
yes. Bull.
No, the front.
Is this like the second step to a test? Because I've had that checked a lot. I've never had anything actually.
Just for fun, or?
No, my prostate was fine.
Yeah.
My prostate was good to go,
Right.
right? But there was, I had a urine check, and there was a little blood in there. So they're like, well, we got to do this test, and you got to have this, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm
I
like,
tell you, out of all the things I thought I'd hear on today's
Jeez.
show,
We are
I
a minute 20 in.
I did not
Urine in
have
my
that on my
blood.
list.
1 minute and 20 in, and we know about both sides of Adam's
but
backside.
good news.
I just gave it
I don't
The
know what
afternoon's
just
going to be a
happened,
whole
Gene.
lot better because I'm having a massage today.
Hey!
Going for a massage.
Man,
Wonderful.
people
Yeah.
are going to have been all over that
When was
body
your
of
last
yours.
massage?
About 2 months ago.
So are you more or less likely to talk about getting a massage based on what's going on right now with
I thought
Deshaun
about
Watson?
that. I did think about it. It's like, oh, should I mention that? And I'm going
Yeah.
to a different massage therapist than I saw 2 months ago.
Uh-oh.
It's a trend.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
It's a pattern.
Don't let the New York Times find out about that.
No.
Sue Robinson comes out on a rope. She's like, what?
I think this is like my fifth. I
Two
think,
massage therapists in 2 months?
yeah, it's my fifth or sixth in like the last 3 years. No, because I didn't see anybody during COVID.
Why do you
so.
change?
I went to a woman a couple times in a row, and
Just wasn't doing it.
I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know, the
that's
first
interesting.
massage was good, so I went back. The second one wasn't as good, and I'm
She
like,
phoned it in the second time.
but I feel, what's that?
Did she phone
I
it
think
in
she
the
might
second
have.
time? She
She
phoned
thought
it
she
in.
had him as a regular.
We all
Yes.
have our off days. Yeah, she got lazy.
I know.
Earn me. You got to earn me every
But
week
I'm
on this
feeling
table.
good about this one. Like,
Okay,
she works
good.
specifically
I
on
hope she works
injuries
out
and
for
stuff.
you.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the blood in your urine.
Yeah, now back to the
Like the
blood
bloody
in
urine.
Yeah.
Do we have any definitive declaration as to why this is occurring yet?
No, I didn't even know that I had blood in my urine.
They found that out today.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Must have been like trace amounts of blood. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
What age are you supposed to start getting these prostate
Like
exams?
50, man.
Yeah, 50. But I'll tell you this: if
Yeah.
you ever actually see it in your urine,
Yeah.
you're long past
No.
trouble.
Well, no. Well, that's not completely true. Only because, yeah, it could be something serious.
Yeah.
I have actually,
Yeah.
because people
If
want to
you
hear
could
about this.
see it.
Yeah, let's
I
get
have
deeper
had
into this.
blood in my urine a couple times in the past.
That you could actually
Can we get a
see.
Chiron?
Or
that I
it
could
was
see.
just orange.
No, that I could see, and it was painful when it came out. Let me tell you something.
And what was that?
I
caused
had kidney stones,
by? Oh.
Those are not fun.
which was
Okay, so what it was doing was it was basically cutting the tissue.
it was not pleasant.
I had one kidney stone in my life. And I'm praying every
Those
day
are a
that
real
that's the last
curse.
one I
That
get.
was not fun.
I've changed my habits since. I hydrate constantly.
I
now.
do. I hydrate, but now they're like, they got to do like a CAT scan. I don't know, the ultrasound.
Yeah,
the
to
CAT
take a
scan,
look and see where it
all
is.
these things. But
did you actually pass a stone, or did they
in the
laser it?
past?
Yeah, have you ever
I had
passed
like
one?
no, I didn't fully pass a stone. It came out as more like crystals and it had
went
like
in
broken
and
up or
zapped it a
whatever.
little bit?
Okay, yeah.
I don't even remember what happened. It was a
That's
while
all
ago.
I passed.
Just
a
bring your
stone.
charts in. Bring your charts
I
next
will.
week.
I full medical evaluation. on
Yeah,
the
I
show.
want to.
By the way, I said to the
go over your
doctor,
charts.
the doctor, as he's checking me out today, was a new urologist that I went to today. A shout out to Dr. Jankowski, nice guy.
I'm not one.
Open for sponsorships.
So he
Pick your
goes to me-
segment.
So, regular conversation in the middle of some awkward things, and he's like, so what do you do for a living? So I'm like, well,
yeah,
let me
here we
tell
go.
you.
Yeah.
He goes, I used to listen to the Bull and Fox show. I said, he said, tell me about the new show, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I was like, maybe we could put, when I got to have this test done with something going in the,
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, maybe we could put it on the show. I said, maybe we can put it on the show. And he's like, yeah, let's do it.
His logo's right there.
I'm going to try to
Yeah.
redeem this conversation. Real
I'm
quick.
curious to see how
Because
this
we're going to
goes.
make the turn to Deshaun Watson news
Yeah.
in 1 second. I just want to take 30 seconds to speak to a captive audience. A large percentage of our audience is men, not all of it.
Yeah.
But we as a gender do not take our health seriously enough.
No.
Get your regular screens. Get your prostate, your colon. They say start that stuff at 50.
Yeah.
If you have a family history of it, which I do,
Yeah.
start it at 40 or 30, depending on how severe the history
Go
is.
for a physical every
But
year.
men, we typically will see there's a problem, and we think if we don't say anything about
Right.
it, no one will know, and it will never manifest itself.
Very stupid.
If you feel something is off, if something appears to be off, stop the John Wayne Act, make a doctor's appointment, and go. I'll jump off my soapbox.
There you go.
now.
No, you're
Something
right.
I feel very, very
And I think
passionately about.
everybody should go for a physical once a
This
year.
is a true story. The reason
Yeah.
this is, I had a friend, a high school friend. I was just telling Bree before the show. I went to his funeral yesterday. Lifelong friend, lived behind me, played baseball together, went to high school together. I get a text less than 2 weeks ago from his sister saying that Jeff has been diagnosed with cancer. The doctors told him, you have weeks, there's nothing we can do. 7 days after I got that text, he passed away.
Oof, God.
He was feeling mild stomach irritation. That was it. They went and found cancer
God.
everywhere.
Sorry,
Brutal.
that's awful.
And it's an absolutely life-changing event. He's in his 50s.
Yeah.
Was a healthy guy, a great athlete, and it can happen to all of us.
That's
so
brutal.
If you and he didn't even feel anything was wrong.
Get checked out.
So
Go to the
get
doctor.
checked out. All right, we're starting with the Deshaun Watson news. So we'll backtrack just for a second. Yesterday, Charles Robinson of Yahoo had the news of the day. He reported that the NFLPA plans to sue in federal court the NFL if Watson's suspension is more than a year. We expected that. They dropped bombs that was going to happen. So it wasn't really a major surprise because everybody expected that. But today's news comes from Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, who's been on this story. Some of the stuff we've, I think, agreed with. Some of the stuff we've said, I don't know where he's getting this. Mike is reporting that the NFLPA will not have to file a suit, and here's why. He's saying that people in Watson's camp and the NFLPA feel very good that a suspension is going to be in the 2 to 8 game range, and here's why. This was based off what was in the filings that were given to Judge Sue L. Robinson on the 12th. The original deadline was the 11th. She extended it to the 12th. They believe they pounced on one thing that we talked about at length on this show. There is a line in the league's conduct policy that says ownership or club management will be held to a higher standard and be subjected to more significant discipline. Well, that's very interesting because last Friday we ended the show with the news that the Houston Texans had settled against 30 female accusers in the Deshaun Watson case. And where this becomes important is the team was complicit because their director of security had given to Deshaun Watson non-disclosure agreements to hand out to anybody that gave him a massage. Because Deshaun had told the team, I'm being blackmailed by someone that gave me a massage. Well, here's how you handle that. Give them an NDA.
Let's not change your behavior.
Yeah, let's not talk
Here,
about
have a
what
piece.
happened.
Have this rite of passage.
Yeah. Well, here, this will give you a pass to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And
Now-
it will never come to light.
Yeah.
The reason this is important is because now the NFLPA can juxtapose what the league has not done to the Texans to what they're preparing to do to Deshaun Watson. And before I have you guys jump in on this, the last thing I'll say to that is, as of yesterday, neither the league nor the Texans would even respond to inquiries about whether or not they were doing an investigation into the Houston Texans. This is two-sided justice. And guys, I know that we've all pretty much been in the 6 to 8 game range, but after today's news, I feel much more confident that's going to be on the lower side of 6 games. How does this news change your opinions?
Well, I've always thought about I've been on record from the beginning talking about some of these things, right? Talking about the, hypocrisy, but it goes deeper than hypocrisy. You got to get technical and you got to get legal to this thing. It's not about how you feel. It's about the facts surrounding that. The collective bargaining agreement states certain things, right? And if you're going to have a binding legal contract and it states that owners are held to a higher standard, yet the Texans have already gave 30 people a settlement, right? the league won't even comment and talk about what did they know? Has there been an investigation? What were their findings of the investigation? What are their plans moving forward? They haven't even talked about it. And the way we look at it as far as what Charles Robinson said yesterday in terms of saying, listen, guys, they're going to plan on suing. We already knew that. But the suing is not specific to Deshaun Watson. The suing will happen because it will be a class action lawsuit, which says you treat two groups of people differently. African Americans are a protected group, right? Which opens you up for discrimination cases. If you look at the hiring practices, there's already one hiring practice discrimination out there with Flores. And he's squeaky clean as they come.
And that lawsuit, the courts decided can move forward.
Can move forward.
Right.
They settled out of court with Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reed for blackballing them for taking a knee. They also have, right now, dealing with the CTE investigations and payouts of people who have disabilities because of CTE. They use racial norming in order to not give certain African-American people an opportunity to have the access to those funds. This is just a small piece of it. Because and people will say, well, you know what? The league has never lost. The league hasn't had a class action lawsuit before. And the league has not had an owner or three owners that are there ripe for the picking, in which you can juxtapose what you're doing here in real time and what you're doing here. So I think this is a thing where the 2 to 8 games, I've always said the league should be smart.
Yeah.
And go ahead and talk to Deshaun Watson.
Quickly, as a point of clarification, the league did lose the CTE. They made a huge settlement, and I don't know how anybody can say that's anything but an L, particularly when you look at the number that was attached to it. That was class action, and they felt they were going to lose, so they decided to settle and come with a settlement that none of us have ever seen before.
Yes. I think there's a couple of things here. First of all, I will say, to me, when we look at the comparisons between the players and owners, to me the best examples are Daniel Snyder and Jerry Jones, and not the Texans, because ultimately the Texans were being sued because of something that Deshaun Watson allegedly did. So I don't know that I'm going to blame the Texans. If Deshaun Watson did what he was accused of,
right,
well, that's on him more than it is on the Texans, because it's not like there's that's how I see it.
And to back up your point and to tell you why you're right, here's what's going to happen. The director of security for the Texans will be fired.
Oh, yeah.
And the Texans will say he operated independently of us.
Know.
We've already cleaned up the problem here.
Right.
Nothing to see.
That's right.
That's what they're going to say.
Yes, but there certainly is a good argument for unfair treatment when it comes to Daniel Snyder and when it comes to Jerry Jones in a big-time way. So that's number one. Number two, and the most important thing, I think, for us as Browns fans and people who want to see Deshaun Watson play, and the reason I have said 8 games all along and continue to say, and now, first I thought it was going to be 8 games. Now I think it's going to be 8 games at the most. But the league wants to be done with this. You talked about they settled with the CTE. You talked about they settled with Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reed. This started as Deshaun Watson getting bad press. He's still getting some bad press, but now the league's getting a lot of bad press about how hypocrites they are, how the rich white guys get away with everything, okay? And that's all true. They want this gone. And that's why I'm convinced, and again, if I'm wrong, I'll be proven wrong, okay, I'll admit it. I'm convinced that they have no interest in overstepping what Judge Robinson does. I think they're talking tough, and if Judge Robinson says no games or 2 games, they're going to be like, we tried. We put it to her. She thought this was fair. I'm letting it go.
She's literally their human buffer.
Absolutely. She takes them off the hook no matter what they decide, what she decides. And I think they're just talking tough so they can say to the people that are angry at the end, we tried.
I've been hearing you guys say this about Sue Robinson for a while now. And you might be right. But I also think that maybe I'm a little more cynical.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily believe that the NFL thinks that they have to abide by whatever she says. I think that you're right, she is a form of a buffer. But I think you hire lots of consultants all the time to come in and give advice. And then you take that advice, and you take what you know, and then you make your own decision because that is your employee, really. You hired an outside consultant to come in and give you advice. And you didn't say, we promise that we're going to do whatever you say we're going to do.
And he has that loophole in the collective bargaining agreement.
Yes,
the
that
commissioner does.
he can, and so
It's already written.
it makes sense from a PR standpoint, and I hear what you guys are saying, but it wouldn't shock me. The NFL doesn't give a damn when all of us where they're just gonna if they find the ruling to be favorable. I think that they'll be like, we're gonna listen to her. If it's what they want, they'll be like, we're gonna listen to her because she's in charge. But if they don't, they'll be like, we like what you brought to the table. Thanks a lot. We're going to take that into consideration. We're going to do the same thing we want to do anyway.
And she's a woman of integrity, 25-year career as a district judge. But let me throw this into the mix, Mike, and see what you think about this. Normally, I think you make a great case. But because the optics of this case are rooted in race, and G. Bush has been talking about this for weeks.
And gender.
You can't ignore that element of this.
Right.
And the one thing the league has, at least on the surface, the optics, they've tried to make strides in race relations. Some will say they've fallen woefully short. And you pointed to the Flores lawsuit. You can look at Colin Kaepernick. You can look at the sub-baseline testing for black players in the league and how they pay out on the CTE settlement. Their track record on race relations is not great.
No.
They've hidden behind the Rooney Rule, but what has that ultimately done?
But they keep making money, and they're never punished for it,
but
really.
isn't
And-
there
But
a
that's all they
tipping
care
point,
about,
though?
guys. That's all they care about is the money,
Making
right?
money.
And
all
if the
they care
money
about
is
the
worth
money.
more, if the money they make from having him in the league is worth the hit that they would take from the PR, and they look at the math and it's like, we'll still make more money even though more people will be mad at us, they're going to go with that
They
decision.
will.
I think.
And Mike, to that point also, I think, and maybe I'm crazy, but I think they're worried a little bit. They have to be worried a little bit about the possibility, as G says, about a class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's that could be a ton of money.
Yep.
So I think they're going to be happy to just get this done with.
Is it possible, like, everything has a tipping point, and there have been a lot of straws placed on the camel's back. The Kaepernick, the Flores, you mentioned the CTE baseline testing for blacks. Ultimately, is there a point, and is this the straw, where Black America says, you know what, we have officially seen enough. We've officially, and now that you have one set of justice for a black player who was cleared of criminal wrongdoing, show us the evidence, and he's getting this, and you've had white rich owners skate, is that ultimately the straw that breaks Black America's back when it comes to their patronage of the NFL?
Well, I can't speak for all of Black America.
What? You can't?
What
What are we doing? Why'd you ask me?
So, but I will say, I don't think it's that. I think it's if she comes back, right? Remember I said this earlier before. I said, we watching. People are watching, right? I said, this is 3-4 weeks ago. If she comes back with 2 games, 3 games, and the NFL tap dances all over her ruling just to do what they was going to do anyway,
Right.
it's done. And I don't think they
They
understand.
wouldn't frame it that way, though.
Right.
They wouldn't
No, but
say,
that-
they
But
would
that
say,
would be exactly what
that
it
would
is.
exactly what
Sure,
it is.
of course it would, but they could deny it and say.
So you have a black woman making a ruling, and then the white man comes in and says, that was cute,
Actually,
but
she's
here's
not
what
black.
we're going to do.
She's
Sue
not
Robinson's
black.
white.
Oh,
She's white.
okay, that's my mistake. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
Sue Robinson
I
was
screwed it
black
up
woman.
last
Yeah,
week for some
yeah.
reason.
Oh,
too.
okay.
That's why I knew.
But I assumed she was black. I thought
Jay,
I
I'm being told you're now part of the class action suit.
I can't hear. My earpiece is broken.
Now this is a law. This is from the Massachusetts. We're talking about union labor here. It says when they're looking at these things, they're looking at a number of things: a fair investigation, proof. Did the investigation produce substantial evidence of proof or guilt? And this is the big one when they talk about when you're going to mediation and when you're going before an arbiter. This is what they want: equal treatment under the collective bargaining, where the rules, orders, and penalties applied even-handedly without discriminations. The rules must be applied consistently to all employees. The application cannot be discriminatory or selective. If other employees who commit the same offense are treated differently, there may be evidence of discrimination or what is referred to as a desperate treatment. Also, if enforcement of a rule has been lax in the past, management cannot suddenly reverse course without first warning employees of a tighter enforcement of the rules.
So now
Can I-
all we need to
but the
do is go
distinction
back.
there is
All we need, go ahead.
employees.
Yeah, that's
All we
true.
need-
The owners are not employees.
However, here's your caveat. They are named as people who are under that policy. So even if
Yeah,
it
but
don't,
these are 2 different policies, though.
but no, what I'm saying is if you have a collectively bargained agreement as to conduct, That collectively bargained agreement on conduct says who's subject to it.
Right.
And who's subject to it? Owners, players, everybody.
But here's the loophole there, or not the loophole. Here's the problem with that. All you got to do, you got to find another apples-to-apples situation to compare it to. That's what they can get out from under. Find me another situation where a player was accused by over 20 people of sexual misconduct on a massage table, and there's just no history of it. You can say this one's kind of close. We got this Roethlisberger thing over here. We got this thing over here, but they can always say, well, it's just not the exact same thing.
Well, the vagueness. Here's where you come in. The vagueness of the conduct policy therefore hurts them in this situation. Because if they said sexual allegations and it's over 5 or over 6, guess what? We can get you for that. The conduct policy doesn't say that. It just says anybody defaming, bringing shame to the NFL is subject to
But G. Bush, aren't there levels of obviously there are certain crimes that rise to higher.
Sure.
Sure.
But guys,
They have
I
to
would
prove
argue
that.
Of the shield.
They have to prove that.
others.
Guys, I would argue that it's not 20 cases. There may have been over 20 accusations.
Now there's 4.
There may have been over 20 lawsuits. But what did the league, all the reporting has been that they are only considering 4 of the cases.
Correct.
In this situation.
Right.
But the look of things still bothers them.
The look is bigger than that.
It is.
But in terms of what they're actually adjudicating, it seems like it's only 4 cases, which is very similar to Ben Roethlisberger.
Right, and they have a history, though, of now.
And Ben Roethlisberger, by the way, was accused of rape.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we need to make it very clear.
That's true.
And we have, but there's a lot of people on Twitter. Because my podcast today that I put out this morning, my headline was.
How do we find that, by the way, that podcast?
Please go to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube.
Nice.
Or you can
And
follow me on
subscribe.
Twitter.
What a
Please
plug.
subscribe.
And please subscribe.
Please subscribe. Yes, we're less than 900 subscribers away from 11,000, which we want to get
We
to
hit 10,000
by the end of the
yesterday.
month.
And
Yes.
you were saying on your this morning.
So this morning, my headline of my podcast was why it was and still is a no-brainer for the Browns to trade to Deshaun Watson. I talked a little bit about the argument we had on the air yesterday and that whole situation, and a couple of responses were, you don't care that he raped people? And I'm like, you can't just start, that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
It is.
There's no accusation of rape at all. And again, I think we all agree at the very least, Deshaun Watson showed some bad judgment.
Yep.
We don't know exactly what he did. We know he showed some bad judgment here. But to start throwing out rape, that's a big difference from what he's being accused
No,
of.
that's a world of difference.
Huge.
And I really go back to what you said on the apples to apples comparison. The language that you read out of that particular statute was the language was very specific. Employees. It didn't say anybody that is covered under a collectively bargained agreement. And that's what the league would argue. The league would argue, say, well, you're talking about employees here.
Right.
You're trying to ask us to punish the employers the way the employees are punished.
However, see, this is my thing. If they didn't want the owners to be part of it, all they had to do is take the owner's name out of it, and they would not be subject to it. See, here's the thing. We gotta talk about the letter of the law. If the letter says, I'm subject, you're subject, you're subject, and you're subject.
And your boss is subject.
And your boss is subject. That means we are all held to a certain responsibility. So I understand, and the thing is, what we are all are getting is, we know how the league works. We know that they get away with a bunch of stuff.
Right. Daniel Snyder should be in jail right now. He is refusing a subpoena.
He's hiding
from
on a boat,
Congress.
isn't he? Is he
He
hiding on
should
a
be
boat?
in jail.
Yeah.
But-
they should go on that boat, put freaking
not gonna
handcuffs
end
on
well
him,
for him.
and
But-
throw him in jail
I don't
right
think
now.
he'll own that team a year from now.
Probably not.
But
think
what,
he will.
No, but he'll probably win a Senate seat.
all I'm arguing is this. All I'm saying is we there is kind of funny. You probably get it. All I'm arguing in this situation is that, we know they got away with it before, and they consistently do. But here's the problem. If they bring a class action lawsuit for discrimination, they can't weasel out of that one. That is a long, hard trial with a lot of documents, a lot of emails,
a lot of bad publicity.
Why would you want that?
That's why I think both hands are on the button to settle. Because ultimately, especially after seeing Florio's report yesterday, to me, my takeaway from that, and I'll get yours in a second and we'll move on, but to me, when I digested what I had read, I had sort of moved to the point that both teams, I'll use your analogy, both teams have their finger on the nuclear button. And typically, when we've had those Bay of Pigs situations where you're staring one another down, typically cooler heads prevail. They cut their losses. They take their hands off the button. they shake hands and come to an agreement. And I honestly believe that that's where we're going. Even if that means that when Judge Robinson makes her ruling, the NFL stands down and says, we'll stand by that. I don't think they want to raise this thing to DEFCON 10 and nuclear war, because to your point, if the documents from the Washington football team investigation become public information, we are going to change the way we watch sports. Because I guarantee you there is plenty in there that the league and Washington doesn't want public.
There's nothing that can stop the NFL. We get right to McNuggets. So there's nothing can stop the NFL but that. They're going to rake in money forever. They just got to keep everything there.
Just don't melt down on yourself.
And it seems like they're better off taking the PR hit for a smaller suspension, if it is, than what could happen if it goes the other way.
And to your point about the money, I don't know if you guys were following the DirecTV comments and what's going on with that. DirecTV has been a long time the provider of Sunday Ticket. The report came out Friday that those new rights are going to go to Apple at a price tag of $3 billion a year.
$3 billion a year.
A year.
That's, again, it's
insane. So we're talking about the GDP of many small countries added together.
Yeah,
no doubt. About Apple.
When you throw in what Fox pays, what NBC pays for Sunday night, what ESPN pays for Monday Night Football, CBS, and their local.
Right. Plus Amazon. Amazon now.
This thing keeps going up exponentially. Just when you think that they've hit their ceiling and now they're going to level off.
So how adorable are we, though? How adorable are we, though? Like, they better settle this or they're going to lose the fans.
Yeah, right.
And they're just like, they're shoveling money into a furnace. They're just, oh yeah, sure, you're going to lose you guys.
This idea
enjoy hockey.
This idea that they're going to lose a ton of fans because they're mad about Watson playing is absurd.
I know. I wish you think so highly of ourselves as a society.
All that will happen is you'll lose it. You may lose them in the short term. We've seen the last couple of years the NFL ratings go down.
I thought they went back up last year after they had gone down.
But what we thought we'd never see, we saw 2 years in a row, and that's league ratings go down. Now they're back up, but it would be a temporary blip.
Oh, definitely.
But the fans cannot
always come back.
As the saying goes, the NFL owns a day of the week.
That's right.
I have one question for you guys before we bring on Tim Couch here. Steve, punch up tag board real quick. This was from Josina this morning. We kind of touched on it, but she tweeted out that they're not looking at the difference in owners versus players as a significant it's an irrelevant point, excuse me. Are you guys buying that whatsoever?
No.
Because that's caused a complete firestorm on Twitter.
What was the source? It was a league source. And to me, it shows that the league is desperate.
Well, they may
they're leaking that out there.
Yeah, they may think it's irrelevant, but I don't think Judge Robinson's going to think it's irrelevant.
Or the NFLPA, which is the only thing that matters.
Exactly,
they're the ones that they're going to bring the action.
Of course.
And the NFL is just saying, "Yeah, we looked at that. There's nothing to see."
It doesn't matter.
It's akin to the Players Association leaking from the hearing.
Yeah.
They presented no evidence of force, coercion. Well, that's their opinion.
Right, sure.
They weren't convinced by any of the evidence they saw. But we don't know what Sue L. Robinson will think of that.
I just still can't believe that these wealthy people think they're above the law. Isn't it crazy? Where would they get this impression?
And how do we change that?
We live in a society.
How in the world do we change that?
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, before we move on, anytime we introduce a guest on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, they are brought to us by our favorite roofers in the world, Gridiron Guys. Are you guys looking for a local roofer you can trust? Family owned since 2003, the Gridiron Guys have grown to become Northeast Ohio's top-rated roofers. We exemplify quality work practices, are a valued resource for homeowners, and offer a 10-year workmanship warranty. Call 330-573-7967 today for a free estimate or roof inspection.
Gridiron Guys.
Will you ask the Gridiron Guys who made that helmet logo next time you talk to them? I'm just curious.
If you
I think it's well done.
If you get a bag out of that jingle, I'm gonna crack. Like, if you get a bag, if they give you this bag for that, because it ain't even bad though. Like, I'll be looking forward to it.
That's the best one. That's the only one.
That is the best one.
You've tried to
I got to come up with. I got to work on the others.
You know, I will say I want to pay you a compliment real quick. Yesterday I was listening to your radio station, your old radio station.
Yeah.
And I love Dustin Fox. You know I love Dustin. But your Delmonico baby,
they're still playing that.
Was a trademark.
Yes.
Okay,
I should be getting some money from that.
You
should.
And I love Dustin, but when he did the read, he finished it with it.
Oh, right.
And it went something like this. And Dustin, I'm not capping on you. You know I love you. It was like, Delmonico, baby. And
Just didn't have the same ring.
give it to us one time.
It's Delmonico's, baby!
Yeah, like you can't beat that. Like if I'm Delmonico, I love that because it's iconic, it's a trademark, and so poor Dustin. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to read that after you've read it.
Hey,
But don't get sassy about it and be like, I deserve a nickel. Just enjoy that you have that fame. That's cool.
By the way, very funny that you used the word sassy for me because last night I was having dinner with my wife. It was her birthday, and I surprised her by bringing her two of her good friends to dinner,
nice.
including shout out to State Representative Monique Smith, who was our state rep, although they've screwed up the maps again, so now she's not our rep anymore. But anyway, we went out for dinner, the three of us, and the three of them were talking about some teenage girl who was sassy, and I said, how come boys are never described as sassy?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
there
why.
you go.
Girls, and then Mike just called me sassy.
And it was because you were like, maybe I should be getting a nickel for Delmonico's. I'm like, don't. Let's not start that in a paper. Delmonico's guy sues Delmonico's.
McNuggets.
What you guys can't see as Bulls doing that is the guest reaction in our waiting room, and Tim Couch started cracking up as the Gridiron Guys thing came. So, Tim, thanks for joining us as always, and if you need a jingle for your company, whatever you're doing, I think we got your guy
I know
now.
who to come to, man. Absolutely.
Absolutely, I'm ready.
He wants royalties, though. He doesn't do it for free. He wants paid, as Mike just pointed out.
Let's go.
Hey, what do you make
That's
of
right.
the latest news, Tim? I don't know if you caught us at the top of the show, but the big story today, Florio saying that the NFLPA and Watson's camp are pretty confident that 2 to 8 games is going to be the range based on some of the briefs that were filed last week and the whole discrepancy between owner punishment and player punishment. What do you make of that? Are you buying that?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of what we expected, from everyone was thinking maybe 6 to 8 games, somewhere in that range. So it's kind of sounding like that's what it's going to be. But, I guess we just have to wait and see. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but, we'll see how it plays out and see what happens.
By the way, we'll get back to Deshaun Watson in a second, but I got to say to Tim that in the last couple of weeks, I feel like, and I'm sure you guys have had this experience too, I've run into so many fans who are loving the show and enjoying it, and they always bring up in particular the three former Browns we have regularly, Tim, DeQuell, and Leroy, right? They bring the three of you guys up all the time, and I was having I had like multiple conversations actually this week with people like, man, Tim Couch is awesome when he comes on with you guys. I can't believe, and a few people have said to me, man, he deserved better, and it's amazing that he still has this positive attitude about Cleveland because the Browns screwed him. The Browns screwed him. And a lot of people said, Baker, what is Baker whining about? The Browns really screwed Tim Couch. They didn't screw Baker. But it's amazing how many people are so appreciative of the fact that you busted your ass here, you got a raw freaking deal, and yet you have such a great attitude. The fans, it means a lot to people that I've noticed over the last few weeks of having you on.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear. Every time I'm able to get back to Cleveland, especially when I was working with Jay and we were calling the preseason games a few years ago,
right.
And I was able to be around the fans and stuff, I got a lot of positive feedback. And I'll tell you, as a former player, it makes you feel really good that you're appreciated for your time and your efforts that you gave to an organization, and that's really how you want to be remembered. And I'm glad the fans now can see it from a different perspective. When I was playing, it's always the quarterback's fault. It's always the head coach's fault. But now that I'm removed from the situation, I think people can see that I was placed in a pretty rough situation, being on an expansion team and being thrown right in to be a starter in week 2 of my rookie year. So it was a tough road, but I wouldn't change it for anything. I really love my experience in Cleveland, and getting that team to the playoffs in my 4th year was a huge accomplishment from where we started in 1999 as an expansion team. So I'll always be proud of that accomplishment.
Tim, you probably don't remember this, but I actually played left guard for you in 2002.
I remember. Yeah.
And he was one of the bigger ones.
I had a quick follow-up to that. How do you think this fan base is going to be reacting to Baker Mayfield in 10 years?
That's a really good question. I don't know, because it's been, Baker has said some things, and the organization has said some things about Baker. So we'll see how it plays out. But I think for the most part, I think people will be appreciative of what Baker was able to do, because it's a very similar situation to when I came to Cleveland. I think Cleveland had won 2 games in the last 3 years before Baker got there. and they bring him in as the #1 pick in the draft. He gets them to a playoff, wins a playoff game. So I think the Browns are always going to be appreciative of him, what he accomplished, and helping turn around this organization, get it going in the right direction, bringing some energy and enthusiasm into the organization, and winning football games. And he had some really good times. He played really well at times, and unfortunately he was injured and was inconsistent at times as well. But he had some really good moments. So hopefully the fans remember him well and appreciate what he was able to accomplish while he was here.
Tim, you during the process with Baker Mayfield, right? He gives back $3 million. Now, under you've been in the league, you've played. Under what circumstances would you give back $3 million? And would your wife have a conversation with you about that? Like, whoa, like 3
Yeah, let's think about this before we give away $3 million. That's a lot. But I think in Baker's situation, he just was ready to get out of Cleveland and get on with his career. I think he was willing to do whatever it took to, whether that was taking less money or whatever, just to get on a new franchise and get a fresh start and get this thing over with and get it behind him. And it seemed like it drug out forever. They were trying to find a trade option for him and things like that. So it's he found a place, found a team that wanted him, had to come down a little bit on his price to get what he wanted. So it's part of the business. It's a tough pill to swallow for $3 million, but it's a situation that he was in.
And real quick follow up. This is another thing. So you talk about the salaries and different things. So after you left Cleveland, right? You were relatively we were Green Bay a little bit, and then you were kind of finished. Was there a point in time where you kind of was really worried about any money, or were worried about like, wow, how much? Like, okay, I do have this money, but I'm kind of freaked out to spend it because I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Did you ever have that moment of clarity, like, wow, like I need to make this last my whole life, or were you pretty much secure and because you were financially stable when you were in Cleveland?
Yeah, I think for me, the best thing that I was able to do, fortunately I had a lot of deals off the field with Nike and, doing a lot of commercials, McDonald's and, things like that. I was able to make some money off the field that I was just living on. And, I told my financial advisors when I was playing that I wanted 2 separate accounts and I was going to live off my off the field money, and every dollar I made from the Browns was going to that I didn't even see. I didn't even want to know anything about it. I was living off the money I was making off the field. So when I retired, I hadn't really spent any of my money. So, I knew it was going to be, a long road. I had a lot of life left to live, but I was financially set, coming out of that. So I was just very conservative during my playing years. I thought, you just never know what's going to happen. With injuries like I had, your career can be cut short. I truly thought I would still be playing in the league to this day. I thought I'd play, 15 years minimum, maybe 20. I thought I was going to be one of the guys that would have to kick me out of the league. I love the game so much, but, unfortunately I had the injuries and my career was cut way short. But, you have to think about those things in advance and think about your future and set yourself up for if something like that does happen.
Well, and that's why Tim now in his second career, and Tim will be modest and he won't talk about this, but Tim's probably more successful in his second career than he was in his first financially. Based basically on what we just heard. He was smart with his money, and now a lot of people with a lot of money trust Tim and his brother and their financial firm to invest and to help them wisely spend their money. Wow. And so he's done a terrific job.
My 401k got destroyed, Tim.
Yeah,
what the hell's going on here?
My 401k is a 201k.
No, man, my joint, I got a rollover.
I can't even look at it. It's too painful.
I don't even know if I have one.
It is.
I actually don't have it anymore, but I did.
One tip, one money tip, Tim.
Figure this out here.
To help us. What do we do?
Man, I don't even know at this point. The market's so crazy right now. It's so up and down. Until things stabilize, I think everybody's just kind of being, sitting back and being a little bit conservative for now until you see what's going to happen. But, it's been tough on everyone. It's just, we had such a great run there for a few years in the market, and everyone was making a bunch of money. And, now the last year or so, it's been everything's just going down, and everyone's watching their accounts drain. But so it's just, trying to, be conservative a little bit, find some good things that are going to be, stable throughout, whatever economy you're in, and just try to invest in some smart stuff.
That's why I'm all in on Dogecoin.
Yeah.
All right, Tim,
I was going to ask you, what do you think about Bitcoin, Tim?
let's get. I
Hey,
want
I'm
to
out on the crypto stuff, man.
He's out of crypto.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of smart people say they are too.
I'm done with that. I
want to get back to Deshaun. You know, we've talked so much about Deshaun Watson off the field. I want to get a little on the field because, like, if you think it seems like he's been around a while, but he's only played 56. I think he started 56 NFL games, which is essentially what 3.5 seasons. I mean, it's not as much as you think, right? When we've seen him on the field, he's mostly been great. We've seen him with outside of DeAndre Hopkins, his first, the rookie season and then the 2 full years. He hasn't really had much talent around him. Bad offensive line, no running game, bad defenses the last couple of years. But in fairness, he also has a lot to prove. He has 1 playoff win. He's got a lot to prove when it matters the most. So I guess my question is, there are some people that think, well, maybe he just won't play well. I'm convinced that as long as he's healthy and on the field, the guy's going to be a great player. Is there any hesitancy from you at all? Maybe because he's missed a year, maybe because he hasn't played enough to know for sure. Is there any doubt in your mind that he's not going to play great if he's healthy? Or is there some doubt that he might not be great?
The only doubt in my mind is that he hasn't played in a year. There's going to be a little bit of rust there, obviously. So, but I think, when he's healthy and he's out on the field, this guy is a top 5 or 10 quarterback in the league without question. He's proven that, the time that he has been out there on the field, he's put up some huge numbers. He can make plays with, his legs. He's accurate with the football. He doesn't turn the football over very often. So he's a great football player. He's a difference maker in your franchise when he's healthy and he's out there and he's got weapons around him. So there's really no doubt in my mind, other than initially when he first comes back, will there be a little bit of rust? Probably. Maybe the game will be moving a little fast for him, and it's going to take him a few games to settle in. But once he gets back used to the speed of the game, gets used to getting hit again, gets used to the physicality of the game, he's going to be fine. He's going to be an unbelievable player.
My only fear with him is the injury. When you've had that injury, it does change the way you play. When you have that injury a second time, it puts limitations on what you can do. And, you can't forecast injury. You can't, other than a repeat injury, which is why this one scares me so much. Tim, when you were out there playing, you were always playing hurt. You had a myriad of injuries. I know you never think about being injured when you're in the game and on the field, but are you thinking about that off the field in your off-season preparations, in your downtime? Like, what can I better do to avoid having another serious injury?
Yeah, you think about it in your off-season training, and you're getting with your trainers and physical therapists, and what can I do to strengthen this or strengthen that? Make myself more flexible so I can try to avoid some more injuries. But then at the end of the day, you go out there and you play, and you just never know what's going to happen. When I broke my leg in the last game of the year against the Falcons that we had to win to get into the playoffs, I didn't even get hit hard. I was throwing a pass. A guy came and grabbed my jersey and kind of spun me around, and my cleat got stuck in the grass, and I got fractured my tibia. So it was just like the freakiest injury. And you can't really prepare for things like that. So it's just, it's one of those things, man. Once the injury, I'd never been hurt in my life. I'd never missed a game in high school or college. And then I get to the NFL, and it's just like injury after injury after injury, and I just couldn't stay healthy. And it was, it's the most frustrating thing for an athlete, man, because you work all that off season, getting your body strong and healthy and prepared to go into a season. And then, one play can change your whole career for you. And it's an unfortunate part of the business, but every athlete has to deal with it.
Well, one of the reasons that you couldn't stay healthy was because Mike was
Me and Jeff Fain weren't holding it down right.
Yeah, unfortunately. So that was a big problem. And that takes us to our rankings, our position rankings of the day. We've been doing this at all the positions in the NFL, and today...
Jay, before you hit this real quick, I think I just want to say it's so many times Joe Thomas has been asked about, like, can you name all the quarterbacks that you've played for? Yeah. And then I think the same, obviously Tim didn't play as long for the Browns as Joe Thomas did, but I mean, like, could you name what percentage of your offensive linemen that played in front of you do you think you could name? I mean, it's been a while. You think you can name them all?
Funny because I don't think I could name them all because the other day I was looking online or whatever, and a picture popped up, from an old Browns game, and it was a guy blocking for me, and I didn't know who that was. I was like, I don't recognize that guy. I think it's one of those years where we were down at the end of the season. We had like a ton of injuries. It may have been Mike. That's right. Yeah, we just had guys coming off the street blocking at one point. So, I don't think I can name all of them. I can name most of the guys, the Dave Wollaballs and, Orlando Browns and all those guys that were ball players. But, we had a lot of guys rotating in and out of that lineup for sure.
I'll tell you what, before we get to the offensive lineman, McNuggets got something right over here. I wanted to ask you, we did this a couple of days ago, and it was the quarterback rankings, right? They talk, I think, the top 10 NFL quarterback rankings. I don't know if you can see it or not. They have Deshaun Watson at number 9 at the bottom. When you look at these groups of quarterbacks right here, is there any glaring issues with this list? Is there any glaring issues of people that are left off the list, maybe too high or too low?
And this was voted on, Tim, by players, coaches, executives, and scouts. I think there were like 50 guys that voted on it.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a real problem with this list. The only thing I would really change is I would probably move Joe Burrow up. In my book, I think Joe Burrow is, he's an incredible football player. I may move him all the way up to 2, to be honest, 3 at the lowest. I really like Joe Burrow and what he's able to do for a franchise. But other than that, the list looks pretty good. It gets a little, when you get into the, 7, 8, and 9 with Justin and Russell and Deshaun, that's all interchangeable to me. Those guys are very similar type of football players as far as talent level, skill level. So it's a pretty good list other than, I would probably move Burrow up a little if I was making it.
Half of those guys have won Super Bowls. Tom Brady has won more by himself than everybody else on that list put together. And he's like 62 now, 63, something like that.
63 years old.
And he's still number 4. So, I mean, that's
6 of the guys, I
impressive.
think, have been to the Super Bowl. 6 of the 10.
Burrow went and lost.
Yeah.
The other 4 have not even been. And then 5 of those 10 have won. All right, back to the offensive tackle rankings. No Browns in the top 10. I don't think that's a huge surprise to anybody. As you look at the list, here's the question that we're going to debate here. Outside of the position of quarterback, which other position is most important to have elite talent to enjoy success in the NFL? What do you think that position is?
I would say it would probably be left tackle. Especially in today's game, the pass rushers are just, unbelievable athletes. And, as much as teams are throwing the football nowadays, I think you have to have an elite guy at that blind side for the quarterback. So I would probably start with left tackle. Once you get that, it's kind of the anchor for the entire offensive line. You get a guy like a Joe Thomas where you can put him over there and say, we don't have to worry about that position for the next 10 years. We don't have to worry about who he's going to be blocking this week. It doesn't matter what pass rusher we're facing. We can just one-on-one block that guy with our great left tackle. And, then we can, scheme up blocking schemes for everyone else. So, I think that would probably be my most important position other than quarterback.
What do you guys say?
I think that he's prejudiced and biased because he got murdered by people for so long, and I don't blame him. Like, that would obviously be the most important one to him. He's like, you know what I would have liked to have had?
Yeah.
A left tackle. That would have been nice.
Go ahead.
I'll ask you, like, when you look at it, I know left tackle is good. Would you rather have an all-pro left tackle or all-pro center?
Man, that's a tough one. I think an all-pro center is invaluable as well. Just because they're making all the calls for the offensive line, they're sliding protection, they're doing all this and that. So there's a lot of communication that center has to do to the other offensive linemen. So it's a tough call, man. But that left tackle position, just because of the edge rushers in the NFL today, I would probably lean a little bit towards the left tackle. But a center is a highly important position.
G. Bush,
as well.
when people come to this day, he's got PTSD. When people come at Tim from his left, he flinches a little bit. He's not sure. He's not sure what they have in mind.
Tim, here's my argument, and obviously, you have personal experience, which I do not. So your opinion carries more water than mine does. But my thought was, I'd rather have, if you're asking elite specifically, I'd rather have an elite pass rusher than an elite tackle, and here's why. Because I think if I have a good, solid left tackle, in fact, like people have asked me, fans have asked me, would you rather have 5 good, solid offensive linemen or 3 great guys and 2 subpar? Wouldn't you rather have the 5 just good, solid ones, right? Because isn't the biggest problem if you have guys that suck on that line and that really kills you? And so whereas at pass rusher, I'd rather have Myles Garrett and then a barely startable other end, then I'd rather have 2 mediocre pass rushers. I think for an elite, you can make more of an impact on the game as a pass rusher than a tackle. Maybe I'm nuts. What do you think about that?
No, I can see where you're coming from. Certainly, guys like Myles Garrett and these great defensive ends that we have in the game, a TJ Watt, a guy like that, they can really impact a game. And, they can, your quarterback, they speed up his process a little bit. They get in his head. They make him get rid of the ball a little quicker than he wants to, things like that. So they certainly have a huge impact on the game. I guess I'm, like you guys said, I'm probably speaking from a quarterback's perspective.
No doubt.
What would I want to there? And, if I had to pick one position where they're going to say, we're going to get the best guy available on the field for you to help you be better as a player, obviously you need a great game-breaking wide receiver. Those are always good to have. But if you don't have time to throw the ball, it doesn't matter how good your wide receivers are. So I would start with my left tackle if I'm building a team as, seeing the game through the eyes of a quarterback. So I would go left tackle. But there's no doubt you can make the debate that a Myles Garrett type of guy could make just as big as impact as well.
Tim, I'm just looking real quick at your 2002 Browns roster. Let me ask you, which of these offensive linemen do you think protected you the best? Barry Stokes, Sean O'Hara, or Paul Zukowskis?
Sean O'Hara was a great player with the
He
Giants.
played the Giants.
Sean-
He had a great career.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's true.
Yeah, I have to go with Sean. Sean was a good football player. He was an undrafted guy. He came in as a rookie, undrafted, made the team, ended up making a great career for himself, and does a good job on TV now. He's on
Does
NFL
a great
Network.
job on the
doing
NFL Network.
Yeah, Sean's a great guy. Won a Super Bowl with the Giants, Eli Center for a few years. So I would go with Sean on that one.
All right.
Those other two guys I never heard of. Have you
I
heard
didn't
of the
either.
other two
Barry
guys?
Stokes?
Do you remember those
I
guys?
think he lived across the street from
Yeah, I
me.
know Stokes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Stokes. I talked to Stokes the other day. He lives in
nice.
Nashville, and then Paul Zukowskis is, he's a Boston College guy. So yeah, I remember those guys for sure.
Of course you stay in touch with everyone, and you're so nice to them.
I was just going to say, I'm so impressed that Tim still keeps in touch with and counts as friends the guys that ended his career early. What a nice guy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we go fishing.
And earlier, Tim really, and it is, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Tim and I spent a lot of time together in meetings or at dinner preparing for our broadcasts, and I would I would bait him and try to see if I could get him to say something disparaging about anybody.
Yeah.
Or, just in like a weak moment say, you know what? I really was done wrong by Cleveland.
Yeah.
What he says on this show is exactly what he
won't
feels.
break.
The man carries no grudge.
Yeah.
He's just, and that's a
Well, we
great way
could
to
say
live
he
your
was
life.
done wrong by
Well,
Cleveland.
we
Yeah,
can
we
say
can.
it, and I know inside he has to agree, but you're not going to get him to verbalize that.
Sorry, go ahead. Mike.
McNuggets is raising his hand. What's up?
No, I just want to double down on that point. I deal with all the guests, making sure they're booked. They know what time they're coming on. Tim, you are like the nicest person in the world. I had my phone on connected to the Alexa the other day. I had a friend over when you texted us on Sunday saying, hey, man, I'm so sorry I can't make it Monday. Can we do another day this week? It read out loud, and my friend goes, who's that? I go, Tim Couch. He's like, you mean like the Tim Couch, the quarterback? I go, yeah, I never would have guessed that's his personality. So, Tim, it's unbelievable. I don't know how you do it, man, but thank you for being such a nice person.
Yeah.
Do you?
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Do you agree that? Do you agree with Adam, or do you agree with Tim as far as most important elite player? Next
Or
to
maybe you want to go wide receiver, or tight end, or running back?
Man, it changed. I flipped on this like 3 times, right? Like, cause the league changes. Like, and before obviously we would say running game, have a nice running game, right? Defensive end, I've seen T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett wreck a lot of games, but now, I don't know, man. The whole Jamar Chase thing got me. He freaks me out. Like now, I think if you can get that type of receiver, and he comes in year one. Like think about it, Tim. These receivers are coming out of high school, already knowing all the route trees. They run all these routes. They do 7-on-7. They're in the shotgun all the time, and they catch these routes and run these routes hundreds. So by the time they get to college, these guys, Jackson Smith and Jigba, you look at Garrett Wilson. These guys come in monsters. Chris Olave.
Yeah.
They come in so good, Tim, and it's like when you were playing, obviously you guys ran a lot with shotgun. You ran some routes. But now the receivers, and you go watch the games, it's completely different.
It is completely different. I totally agree with you on Jamar Chase. That guy, man, I don't know if I've seen a wide receiver come in year one and make an impact like that since Randy Moss came into the league. You know, Randy took the league by storm when he came in, and Jamar had that same impact. And you don't see a wide receiver come in and make that type of impact in year one normally. So he's just a freakish type of player. So he's certainly a game breaker. But, you know, like you said, man, these guys all since middle school all the way through high school, they're in these 7-on-7 tournaments all summer long. They're so used to the passing game now. You know, it used to just, you know, they weren't that used to it, especially until you get to college. You don't know how to learn. You don't learn how to run routes and read coverages and, you know, where to settle up in zones and, you know, how to beat press coverage. You know, a guy right in your face trying to bump you at the line of scrimmage. These guys are starting to learn this in middle school now, all the way through high school. So, you know, by the time they get to the NFL, they are game ready, man. They're ready to step in and make an impact right away. And, you know, we're certainly seeing the effects of everything they've done, you know, throughout their, you know, childhood, growing up throughout high school, in college, and when they get to the NFL, they're ready to go now.
And Tim, to that point, that position used to be running back. The guys that were most ready for the league were the running backs. And we saw because of that, the running back was devalued, both in where they were taken in the draft and what they were making in their second contracts. And now that's exactly what we're seeing with wide receivers. We've seen high-quality, top-name wide receivers just this past year. We've seen their teams say, we're good. We're not going to go into that second contract.
But the new teams paid them a ton of money.
They did, but what the league is starting to say about the wide receiver position, which they said for years with the running back position, you are replaceable. You are disposable.
We'll see if the Chiefs and Packers regret that. I don't know.
Well, there are always going to be guys that you just can't apply that rule to.
Yeah.
Whether it was Emmitt Smith or, you know, whoever it was, Peterson. There's always going to be exceptions to that. But when you look at the caliber of receivers that have changed teams in just the last year in the NFL, it used to never be that way. You got a good receiver and you held on to him till, you know, they had to pry him out of their cold, dead hands. Now we're seeing young receivers, as they're coming up for their second contracts, the team that has them says, I don't want to pay that high premium. I'm just going to go draft a prototype like him, get him to come in. And when Chase comes in and has that kind of production as a rookie, that trend is only going to continue.
A.J. Brown, they got rid of they traded A.J. Brown. I'm like, what?
That was a guy that many thought was untouchable. And now he's changing
Speaking of Jamar Chase, this came out just a few minutes ago. It's the top 10 Madden rankings for receivers. I know Madden is a video game, but Jamar Chase isn't among the top 10 rated receivers, and Amari Cooper is. And I don't understand how in any capacity, in any universe, in any respectable way that
they forgot about him. That's it. That's the only explanation. We've all done this, guys. We've all made top 5 lists, and you think it's
like,
solid.
oh my, how did I
And they're like, how in the world did you leave out Pete Rose? Or whatever it was. The only explanation to this is they had to forget about him. And then when they were reminded, they were like, oh, God, that's right. He's only played 1 year. It's not like it. You know,
Is that what they're basing it on? Only 1 year of production? Would that be their rationalization?
I don't know, but if you asked NFL GMs right now, you can draft any receiver in the NFL. He might be the.
Well, he and Jefferson would go 1 and 2
because of their age and their production that we've already seen.
First of all, Cooper Kupp is a 99. Don't give me the 90. He won the Triple Crown.
Right.
He won.
He's great, but any team would take Jefferson and Chase over him.
Yes, I'm just saying that rating's
You're
wrong.
talking about the rating.
Rating's wrong.
He should have been a 99.
He should have been a 99. Amari Cooper at a 90.
I was shocked at that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's an 86. And I'm a Madden player since 1992. Like, he's an 86 tops.
Tim, how much do players look at those numbers, and do they ever talk smack during games when they're being covered by someone or they're playing against someone that was rated higher than them? They pay attention, don't they?
They definitely do. You know, back in the day when I was playing, Madden was kind of first getting really popular. So guys didn't really talk about it as much as they do now. And now guys get offended when their rating comes out if they're not, higher than they think they should be. So, we didn't really, I didn't really care what the video game thought about me or what they had me rated. But now guys, really into it. So I'm sure there is some smack talking on the field when these ratings come out. And, you guys get I'm with you on the Amari Cooper being rated as a 90 and Jamar Chase not even on the list. That's incredible to me. I don't know how they, do these rankings. I don't know what they're looking at. If you're looking at stats and the impact the guy made on his team, made on the game, he helped get a team to a Super Bowl in year 1. I mean, I don't know what else the guy has to do to get on that list, but it's
John Madden spinning in his grave.
Myles Garrett got a 99.
There's 4 other guys ahead of until you get to Jamar Chase.
Hollywood Higgins.
He's an 87 overall.
What?
87.
What happened?
That's crazy.
When they were making his grade, did the guy doing the grades have a stroke or something? I mean, what happened?
That's awful.
Hey,
That's awful. And you know it's bad news for the Browns this year because he's going to come out with a major
Did you see his tweet?
chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Put Jamar Chase's. I like this. Jamar Chase's tweet.
I love the
response to this.
reactions to these. They're always good.
Give us 1 sec, but pretty much he said, "Well, you'll see it. Pull it up, Steve."
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm
Gonna keep working. Extra motivation. It doesn't show the list. but
Man, you
it's
got the
a
nerve to
quote
be
tweet
a
of the
good
list.
person too. You're gonna be humble and catch the ball and run fast. You know what?
Some guys get everything.
You get out of the way. You get,
In fairness, like obviously the list is stupid, but the fact that Burrow and Chase have a close relationship, they played together in college.
Yeah.
That certainly helped both of them big time.
Immensely.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
That's a good
Tim,
point.
from your perspective, like if you had if one of your good buddies who played wide receiver with you in college had been on your team, like that would have, I mean, that moves up the learning curve in a huge way, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does. You know, I had Craig Yeast when I was in college. We graduated, he was the leading receiver in the history of the SEC. So he was a great player. He was drafted in the 3rd round by the Cincinnati Bengals, and I was really hoping the Browns would have drafted him that year.
Yeah.
So we could have just, it does. It shortens the learning curve. It's a guy that you feel familiar with. It's a guy that if you see a certain coverage or you see this or that, it's just almost a nonverbal communication that you guys are on the same page. We've been doing this for years in college, and you just kind of pick up where you left off, man. And that's what we saw with Burrow and Chase when they got to the NFL. It looked like they're back at LSU again out there torching guys. So it was no drop-off whatsoever. So, yeah, it certainly makes a difference for a quarterback to have that familiarity with a guy, especially when they're so young in their career.
Back to the position that you would most like to have elite talent at. This was a debate and a question that I would have often for our former players, executives, coaches. I was really interested in general managers because they're the ones that are pretty much constructing the team with obviously the input of the coach. And the answer that I would always get to that question was always clear cut, obviously quarterback number 1. But number 2 was always pass rusher, always. Because the GMs would always say there's 2 players that can impact the game regardless of what anybody else is doing. The quarterback, because he's ultimately deciding where the ball's going. And on defense, it's the guy that's getting after the quarterback. And I think in the pay structure, I don't know, when you go by positions of where the highest paid position players are, I don't know if defensive end is number 2 or not. But I'd be curious to know if there's a list.
Is it between that and cornerback?
I just, because most of the executives that I talked to answered that very definitively and without much thought, quarterback and the guy that gets after the quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's
what I would have thought too.
Just because it's such an important position. And look at the way the Super Bowl ended. The Super Bowl ended basically because the premier player at that position just decided they're not going to get a first down here.
Right.
I'm going to make sure they don't. And he made the play.
If Burrow has 2 more seconds, the Bengals throw a touchdown.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
One more second.
I was thinking that maybe I'm traumatized equally, and that's why I picked, a defensive end, because I've just watched so much football, Browns football, of Ben Roethlisberger just sitting in that pocket for what felt like an hour and a half, and just thinking he's just got all the time in the world for something to develop, and just thinking if somebody could just get a hand on him. And I think that I'm traumatized in that same way, and that's why I think that's important.
Hey, Tim, let me ask you that too, because see, this is going. Where Joe Woods at? Hey, Joe, listen, I know you ended up good last year. I don't want no problems with you coming out here playing vanilla defenses the first 4 games. Everybody's back. Everybody know the playbook. Now, Tim, as a quarterback, what gives you the most problems? Because I still don't understand it to myself. I look at Myles Garrett. I look at Jadeveon Clowney. I would move them all around. I would blitz JOK. I wouldn't give you the same look twice. What gave you the most trouble as a quarterback when you were playing? Was it guys that are just playing zone coverage or just man-to-man and rushing 4, or guys that brought blitzes? Because I know Pittsburgh ran the fire zone back then, and they was bringing everybody from everywhere, crossing the linebackers, and it was just ridiculous.
Right.
What gave you the most trouble, and what do you think gives quarterbacks the most trouble that they go against in terms of scheming?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of how good guys are at disguising what they're doing, showing you one thing and then at the snap giving you another, or when they change the looks last minute on you as the play clock is running down and they get into something else without giving you time to audible. Those type of things, those late movements, things like that are really tough to deal with. I remember when we had, Baltimore, who had an unbelievable defense back in the 2000s with Ray Lewis and those guys, and then, Pittsburgh running those fire zones. My first year, I was so daggone confused, man. When I got out there, they were coming up to the line, and they had both safeties down at the line of scrimmage, so it looked like a cover zero look. So I'm out here audible and everything, max protection. I'm trying to throw a touchdown down the middle, and as soon as I snap the ball, these safeties go run out to the flats. The corners go play safety, so it ends up being cover two. I'm in max protection with like 2 guys out in a route. They got like 7 guys in cover. So I'm back here holding the ball like an idiot, man. So I'm like, good. Man, that is so confusing right there. But, as a young quarterback, you have to try. You think, I got to protect myself when they show you that look, and then they just bail out and play a full zone on you. So guys that do stuff like that are really hard to deal with for a quarterback. Just changing those looks on you like that is very difficult.
That's the cat-mouse game.
Tim, this is kind of cool. We actually were able to we were just talking about Madden. We actually just were able to track down an image from a Madden game that you were actually in your career. Do we have that image? Let's see.
I think I was on Tecmo Bowl instead of Madden.
That is so harsh.
Have gotten so bad.
That is so harsh.
Oh my God.
No, Tim, I remember college football. Tim was on college NCAA football like 96, 97. And the reason I always remember, because we played it religiously, the reason I remember them is he talked about Yeast, the receiver. Like Tim and they were the first people I was like, he got a cool number. That number 2 looked crazy. Like his receivers had the single digits, and I was like, okay. Yeah. And you really couldn't tell who was good. But they didn't have ratings back then.
Right.
But for some reason, I'm like, man, this little number 2 guy from Kentucky be throwing the ball further than everybody. They didn't really have
They didn't have that science yet.
They didn't have the stats or ratings. It was
pure
just
luck.
If you just played with a person, they was a little more fluid on the sticks. It just moved a little quicker.
Right.
If you had that turbo button.
And I was like, this is Kentucky.
That's what the pro scout said too. We got to get this guy.
Yeah.
Mikey, are we going to go to the top 5?
Top 5.
Yeah, Tim, you got a minute to stick around, do top 5 with us?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. It is the best comebacks in sports history, brought to you by Roundstone Insurance. Tim, get ready for this jingle. It's a good one by your man, Bull. The Ultimate 5 is sponsored by Roundstone Insurance. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable quality health care. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money, an average of 20%. Yeah, 20%. Contact us today to learn how you can get great health care benefits that your employees will love and save money too.
Round, 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 Roundstone.
There you go.
Now, I like your crescendo at the end. That was better than yesterday, man. I'll give it a 5.
I'm workshopping.
It's the choreography that does it for me.
Yes.
It's all kind of the same.
No, I did a little more hands like this instead of
Okay, all right.
All right, go ahead.
What is our topic today?
These
top
are
5
the-
comebacks.
What are we going to yell at you about
Sports
today?
history.
All right, that's good because there's a lot of great comebacks we can talk about.
This is a tough
No,
list.
there's a lot of them.
I didn't make a list,
No
but there's
chance
some
this
that
list is good for me.
We already hate your list, and you haven't even shown it to us
Yeah,
yet.
this list sucks.
Yeah.
All right, well, you guys are really going to hate the first one. Let's take number 5, Steve.
Don't do it.
Cubs were down.
Well, I'm not going to
3-1
hate
in
that.
this World
but
Series to the Indians.
I'll hate it for you,
They
Bull.
came back, winning Game 7.
Why would you
extra
do
innings.
this?
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
That's inappropriate. Even
All
though-
the comebacks in sports, and you're going to that?
There's some good ones for Cleveland coming up.
in
don't worry.
history?
Yeah,
And you went to
the
that.
Cavs being down 3-1 against Golden State.
That hurt.
That
I mean,
better be number
arguably
1
that's-
if that's number 5.
Arguably, that's the greatest comeback ever because it had been the longest drought ever. However, I think of comebacks within a game.
I
not
do
a
too.
series, but,
I wasn't
you know.
thinking series.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking.
It's kind of a mix. I got some of both.
All right.
Some of both.
okay.
I also think we should look at how much did they spend on players that year? Do you remember, what was the discrepancy?
The Indians,
in-
they had
in-
over $125 million payroll that
The
year.
payroll discrepancy between the Cubs and
It was-
Guardians, Indians at the time, was
negligible?
no, it was probably like
notable.
60 million.
It was notable.
Probably
I don't know.
60.
Someone will look it up
But
and
not
tell us.
crazy like.
No, it
you know.
wasn't like the Dodgers spending $300 million.
Right, I
And
mean-
I know.
the Tampa Bay spending
Right.
90.
I just want to take like one little piece away from your joy, just in some way. And I
They
know that
spent
didn't
more
come.
money,
Trust
though,
me,
than the
even though
Indians.
people don't care, and I understand, because it was the Indians, if it would have been any other team, I would have had even more joy.
That's good.
Because I
appreciate
do have
that.
some love for the Indians, obviously.
Right.
But yeah.
Number 4.
There you go.
Number 4, this is a game comeback. Tim's a basketball guy. I had to throw at least a couple of basketball ones in here. This is the best NCAA tournament comeback of all time. Steve, take it. Texas A&M versus Northern Iowa a couple years ago in 2016. They were down 12 points with 43 seconds left in the game. Came back and won an overtime.
But you know what?
That's embarrassing.
That's not penetrating anybody's psyche.
That's crazy.
Down 12 points with 43
That's
seconds.
hard. That's
But you
horrible.
had to look that up. You
Your
didn't
list
even know
is trash.
about that.
Nobody.
But when you looked it up, you're like, what?
Yes.
Like, I don't even know who won. Who had the comeback?
A&M came back and beat Northern Iowa in
Like,
overtime.
did anybody know that it was A&M that came back and won
No,
that
but
game?
listen, this is him.
No, I
I
don't
guarantee
remember
he
that.
was probably watching this in his dormitory with some friends and had a nice experience. And he's
That is
relating-
No,
he had a-
embarrassing.
he just admitted he didn't even know about the
didn't
game
even
No,
know.
until he
I
Googled
knew
it.
about it. I just had forgotten about it.
That
When
is
you think of the best, it
embarrassing.
doesn't come up. But 12
that
points
is not
in
a
43
great
seconds.
comeback.
Listen, Tim, you're the Hail Mary GOAT. That's the equivalent of being down 12 points with 43 seconds.
It's impressive.
That's impressive. Yeah, I just don't remember that game. I was with Adam. I was like, who came back and won? I was assuming it was
Northern
the upset.
Northern
No,
Iowa?
or the
No,
Tim was
A&M
Iowa.
came
or
back and
whoever.
won.
Before we go to the next 3, Tim, just take a guess what you think at least guess like what you think one of his next 3 is going to be, Tim. Other than don't
Well, I
do
think
Cavs Warriors.
I think the Frank Wright comeback when he
Yeah,
started
that's-
the game, they were down by 30 or whatever, and
Yeah,
they came back
35
and
to
won.
3, and they came back and won like 38-35.
My friends and I went to go out and play football at halftime. We didn't watch the second half.
That's the one that I wrote
Yeah.
down was
There-
Frank Reich Bills.
Well, let's see if he gets it.
There is one, and this is the Houston Oilers against the Buffalo Bills.
That's it.
That's
Yeah, that's it.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah, that's it.
Frank
Yeah.
Reich came in for
That's
Jim
it,
Kelly.
yeah.
They were down
Well,
35
and
to
then
3
there
at
was
halftime.
the throwback with the Titans.
Yeah.
Music City
The
Miracle.
Music City Miracle.
Music City Miracle.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of the
Frank
name.
Reich's not on my list. Okay, number
The
3.
Doug Flutie.
Your list is garbage.
Doug Flutie.
Go ahead. Let's see the other ones.
This is back to a series. Red Sox down 3-0 to the Yankees in the ALCS. First time a team in Major League Baseball history has come back from a 3-0 deficit, and then they ended the curse.
I mean,
that
very,
year.
very impressive,
okay. There you go.
historic. But again,
Yeah.
I think we were all thinking in games.
Yeah.
In terms of games,
I
not
was too.
series.
Maybe we should have clarified that. We got to
Yeah.
workshop it. All right, the next one is a series. The final one is a game. This is when Cleveland in 2016 was down 3-1 to the Warriors. Once again, had never been done before. Then the block, and I think the block makes this as iconic as almost any comeback ever, except number 1.
I would put that one. Then I got the Patriots and Falcons.
Yeah,
That's
the
what I
Super
have.
Bowl.
That's what I have at number 1. So
Oh, yeah.
that's the one.
That was
or two
28 to
debate.
3?
28 to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
gotta
Steve,
be
you can punch
sick.
number 1 up here.
Yeah.
In the Super Bowl, Tom Brady,
I
the
forgot
second best
about that.
quarterback ever besides Tim Couch.
Seeing the rest of this list makes it even more embarrassing that I can't get over the list is completely ruined because of the
Yeah.
Northern Iowa Texas A&M.
Has no
That is-
business being
like that's
in
the
It
there.
is
only
historically-
game you picked.
According to StatMute, no, the Super Bowl.
There's
thank
no.
you.
Oh,
Yeah, no, the
okay.
Super
All
Bowl
right,
is-
Super
yeah.
Bowl. Fair enough.
The other
According
three
to
were
StatMuse,
series.
A&M's comeback was the single most improbable comeback in sports history.
Mike, you have no argument. Just take the L on this. That is
Yeah.
the
It is the
dumbest,
single most improbable sports
It does-
comeback
it's
in sports
irrelevant.
history.
And if
game's
you ask
irrelevant.
100 sports fans, do you know about this game? Tell me about this game.
Yeah.
All 100 will say, what the hell are you talking
It was an
about?
NCAA tournament game. It wasn't like just a random Tuesday
No,
night.
It was
That's
the
a random
first
game.
round. It was probably a play-in game.
No, it
Wasn't
was
even
a first round game.
Okay.
Two irrelevant schools.
Wow.
It wasn't like it was Kentucky against Duke. I mean, it was two irrelevant teams.
Hey, the Kentucky Duke finish, where I know Tim doesn't even want to think
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that, where
Leitner?
hit the shot over Pelfrey.
Leitner.
This
That was-
game,
Yes.
that game was played at Chattanooga, Tennessee, or something. Some random.
How about the Doug Flutie Hail Mary?
Well, but see, you know what? I don't.
No?
Well,
Well, that wasn't a comeback.
That's a
I
great
shouldn't think of that.
finish.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Like,
not. That would have
I'm
been bad
thinking,
too.
When I read this yesterday, the first thing that came to my mind, and we'll get what everybody else's greatest comeback is.
Yeah.
The Indians in '95 or '97, one of the years they went to the World Series,
Yeah.
they were down to the Mariners 12-2.
I saw
remember
that
that.
during my research.
Okay.
Well, I know you
And
hate.
For me, I was watching the game and I'm like, you got.
I
to be
should have
kidding me.
clarified either series or games.
Yeah,
We
and
should
by
have
the way,
picked one
you
and
shouldn't
stayed
bring
in
up
that lane.
Moneyball
Yeah,
around Jay because he gets very angry
I hate
about it.
Moneyball.
But I will say that during that winning streak that the A's had that year,
Yeah.
they continued the winning streak with a huge comeback. They were. No, I'm wrong. The Mariners had a huge comeback again against them, and then they pulled it back.
No.
Ignore that. Cut it.
Now, Tim, there's a game that I don't think you played in, but it was a playoff game, and the Browns was doing the Steelers something dirty.
Oh yeah, no.
The Browns
were
were
side
up.
of that one.
I don't know what they were up.
I
but
think it was
like
28-6.
28-6. And these dudes.
We were up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, we were up big. That was the game Kelly Holcomb started for me because I'd broken my leg against the Falcons the week before. And Kelly came in and threw for like 400 yards. And I don't even remember how much we were up in that game, but it was almost like, this thing's over, man. Like third quarter or so, like, hammering these guys. And then they got hot and they started coming back and, ended up beating us. So that was heartbreaking.
Oh, goodness.
And before they scored their go-ahead touchdown, the Browns were moving the ball, and there was a pass thrown that would have been enough for a first down that would have ended the game, and the ball was dropped.
I think it was Dennis Northcutt. Yeah, Northcutt, I think.
Northcutt, who had a huge game. I think he had a punt return for a touchdown in that game. Had some other big catches.
Well.
He dropped the ball right in his lap that would have moved the sticks, and they could have run out the clock. Instead, they had to punt. The Steelers went down and scored the game-winning score.
Those are the
heartbreaking.
The two games I remember most from the Kim Couch era was that game, and then of course Bottlegate. Like I just watched that again like 2 days ago, and I was mad all over again, like it just happened. Literally throwing stuff in my house. This is crap. This is unacceptable. What were your thoughts when Bottlegate happens and you're like, they just really just took the game from you? What were you thinking of?
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. We're driving down to beat the Jaguars, and I throw a pass to Quincy Morgan on 4th and 1. He catches the ball, and then we get up and we spike it. And after I spike the ball, they come back and say. We went back and reviewed the previous play, which you can't do after the ball's been snapped.
Right.
And they said he didn't catch the ball, game over, turnover on downs, Jaguars ball, basically game over. And, man, I just remember looking up, and there's Bud Light bottles coming out of the top of the stadium. It got kind of scary, we're all like
with force
in straps trying to get out of there. Yeah, it was pretty nuts, man. That was the wildest scene I've ever seen in my life. And, that one, and then you guys remember when Orlando Brown got hit in the eye with a penalty flag?
And
he pushed
yes.
Yeah, remember
Insane.
he went and pushed the referee Jeff Tripp down. That was like right in front of me, man. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. That was we had some crazy stuff happen for sure.
You were involved in a comeback in college. You and I talked about this once. It was the what was it called? The Bluegrass Miracle, and it was against LSU, right?
Oh, that was actually Jared Lorenzen, who was the quarterback at UK right now.
Yep.
The hefty lefty?
That was Lorenzen.
Wait,
the
I
hefty
thought
lefty,
so. You and I talked about a game, and I can't remember which one it was now. I thought it was when you were in college. Was it?
Maybe when we beat Alabama.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I think
that's what it was.
Yeah, we beat Alabama in overtime. It was the first time Kentucky had beaten Alabama in like 75 years.
Forever.
And so we had them at home that time. The game went into overtime. And I was able to throw a touchdown pass to Craig Yeast in overtime to win the game, man. And I'm telling you, when he crossed that goal line, and by the time the officials' hands went up, the whole stadium was down on the field. And they're tearing
What was
the
that
goal
party like that night, Tim? What was that party like?
Oh, my God. Yeah, it was a good party. That's for sure. All right.
Tim's still getting business today off that win. No, I mean business. See, now why'd your mind go there? No, I'm talking dollars business.
Yeah.
Hey, he was back then. I'm not even gonna ask him.
Kentucky loves their legends.
You Kentucky, you Tim Couch of the Bluegrass State. You the man. You 6'5", throwing the football around. Boy, I tell you, I'd have been in your entourage. Hey, watch out, Tim. Watch out, Tim.
Fun,
Tim
man.
coming
It's
through.
fun.
Thanks, Tim.
Hey, Tim, always a pleasure, man. Thank you very much.
Anyway, guys, thank you, man. We'll see you guys next week.
The most pleasant man in the world. We need an ad campaign around like the most interesting man in the world. Tim Couch is the most pleasant man in the world.
By the way, I can't get, and I'm not the most pleasant man in the world, and I cannot get over that Northern Iowa Texas A&M.
What they're still talking about
Still
it.
mad about it.
I'm
All
really
these years
irritated
later.
by
It is still the greatest statistical comeback in
Nobody
sports
gives a
history.
crap.
Speaking of,
Mike.
It's numbers.
Both
It's
Little League
numbers.
team had a comeback better than that this year.
Exactly.
Bo, what was your biggest comeback in Little League this
Weren't
year?
you guys down like 10-1 or something, and you came back and won? Or no, you blew that game.
We blew
I'm
a
sorry.
lead.
Yeah,
We were up 11
That's
runs.
we were up
Yeah.
11 runs. I'm
That's
sorry.
Ameriprise with a big comeback.
speaking of,
Statistically, that was better.
we do have some internet comments.
Oh, good. Who are those
was brought
shocking.
to us by.
Yeah, these are. Is that
Are they
brought to us
ripping?
by-
I hope you have comments ripping his Northern Iowa, Texas
We
A&M.
gonna see, man.
These weren't supposed to be these sponsored comments, but we might as well, if we're going to read it in the
Yeah.
comments. We'll tell you about
What is
PCC
it?
Airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits. Let's see if I can change the monitor at the same time I'm doing this.
Now,
Anthony ran to
listen.
the bathroom. PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils. These monitors are real finicky.
Yeah, you're changing. You got to change all of them at once.
Yeah, we're trying. Listen, this is usually a two-person job. There we go. Shout out
Yeah,
me.
well done.
All locations of
Nice job,
PCC
Mikey.
Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. Anthony, I already changed it. You can walk back from the bathroom. It's okay, buddy. I got you.
PCC, PCCC.
I actually
That's-
like that
that's
one.
right. Yeah.
I actually
I like that.
one.
Yeah, Bull, I'm a fan.
Borrows a classic tune.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yep.
I'll give it a
One thumb up.
7.5.
But I think there were a couple times you said.
I said PC.
PCC. It's just PC.
yeah.
So PCC.
Yeah.
Not
We don't want
PCC.
Yeah, I give it.
Yeah, you gave it
an
3
extra
Cs.
PCCCCC airfoils are trash.
Yeah, that's true.
PCC airfoils are awesome.
The third
Sorry.
C is free.
Yes.
Okay. So what is the internet saying?
Hey,
All good stuff?
You know, no bad. They come out swinging. They're obviously Deshaun Watson moves all the needles, right?
Yeah.
Paul, a.k.a. Florida Dreamhouse, says, every Browns fan trashed Big Ben and the Steelers, Ray Rice and the Ravens, and Joe Mixon and the Bengals. But now all of a sudden,
That's
Watson,
true, but
Watson
fans
is
are
no big
hypocrites. We
deal.
know that.
100% hypocrite.
Yeah,
We're all
but,
hypocrites.
But again, when you consider that Ray Rice punched a woman, his fiance, Ben Roethlisberger was accused of raping 2 women, and Joe Mixon was on videotape hitting a woman.
Right.
The allegations against Deshaun Watson, no one alleges violence, force,
True, but it's
threats.
ultimately, if Watson was accused of the same things that those guys were or did the same things, a good chunk of our fans would still support, and it would be reversed.
To our discussion yesterday,
all
that
fans are equally
Winning,
hypocritical.
and you forget about all
Yes,
that.
that's right.
I didn't have a problem with Joe Mixon. I didn't have a problem with, when I say don't have
You
a
had a
problem
problem with Ben.
Yeah. I had. Well, here's the thing too. Even the Ray Rice one, right? When Ray Rice came back and said, his wife didn't press charges. I think they're still married, right?
They are.
I mean, you look at it. I would have said, hey, I would have gave him another opportunity after he proved
He
that.
wasn't banned from the league, though, technically.
Oh, but he was the first one, so he was definitely gone. Like,
Right, but he wasn't banned.
He wasn't banned.
His
yeah.
game was going downhill.
Yeah,
if he was still good, he would have been back in the
and
league.
he played running back. That hurt
Right.
him a little
If
bit
he
too.
was still a high-level running back, he would have been back in the league.
Had the videotape not resurfaced, Ray Rice had more football left in him.
yeah, but he
It
wasn't
ended his career.
His career was on the down slide.
You could argue that it was.
How
Yeah.
old was he when that happened?
Like 27 or 28. He wasn't 30 yet.
He had another good year and a half as an NFL running back.
Kareem Hunt was on camera punching a woman,
Yeah, kicking.
kicking a woman,
Yeah.
and he's back in the league, and nobody
Yeah.
talks about it anymore.
So that's why I said,
I didn't love that.
Yeah.
a lot of
Right.
people.
Nobody did.
I remember that guy leaving.
Yeah. And-
Dale Strife
Yeah.
says, the more I learn about the internal operations of the NFL and about Watson's cases, the more I root for Watson. Nick Morgan says, it's the incredible shrinking suspension. There's a reason Deshaun Watson camp hasn't cut a deal thus far. And Tim Harsh says, Cleveland fans, we need to start sending roses and chocolates to Sue Robinson right now.
Yeah.
I don't think she
I
should
do
set a
think
trap.
one of those comments said it's amazing how it's the incredible shrinking suspension. If there's a wind vein on this story, for a while it felt like that wind vein was blowing in one direction. We
Right.
were hearing 1 year, 2 years, indefinite. I think now the wind has switched and it's going the other way.
I will say this. It looked as indefinite, right? And I'll say this for Deshaun Watson. He's lucky that Busby wasn't doing this investigation, because it seems like when the NFL had to take over after Busby got his settlements or whatever and moved out of the spotlight, it seemed that's when the tide started turning. He was doing things like leaking small information, doing different things, and he had the public.
But
on his
guys,
side.
we don't
His job
really-
was to get paid.
The truth, though, in the end, is
And he
we
got
don't
paid.
we don't know that the tide is turning. We
No,
think
I
that
said
the tide
it
is turning.
seems as if
It's just like
the wind direction has moved.
Right.
It's just,
It seems that way. I agree.
Because
Yeah.
there's more conversation now, Senator. What did we talk about today? 2 to 8.
Right.
Where there were weeks ago, we were talking about. We're talking games. Should we be talking years here?
Right.
After
Yeah.
Bauer,
Yeah.
and then the big talk was indefinite.
Right.
So
Yes.
I just feel like if you're sliding scale this whole thing, I think like once upon a time we were talking more than a year
Yes.
or a year, and now it seems like we're pushing it the other way. All of this means nothing.
That's true.
Sue L. Robinson's decision is the only thing that matters, and then after that, whether or not either party chooses to appeal.
Right.
But right now, this is just the public, and it
public
means nothing.
perception, yeah.
The court of public opinion means
We're the
nothing.
ones moving this needle, I feel
Yes,
like.
we are.
More
And
than it's
Sue L.
Newton for
Robinson
us.
is probably. I doubt she's watching any of this, but if she is seeing any of the national coverage or reading
Yeah.
any of this, she's probably like, "Oh, it's so cute."
They think they know
think
things.
They know.
Would
Somebody
you-
heard something
would
from
you
a
gu-
clerk.
Would you guys think it was crazy? Like, what if it so happened to be? I know a guy who does. I have a theory. Shout out to him. I have a theory. What if the league already knew how many games he was getting? The owners knew how many games he was getting. Everybody knows.
Well,
Why would they drag it out this
No, but
long at
I
this
raised
point?
that. I raised that
Yeah, a
question
while
a couple
ago.
of weeks ago, saying, "Is this all a song and dance?
Yeah.
Are they all in
Because-
cahoots?
right.
This is what's going to happen, and these are just actors playing
I
out
thought
the
that
script."
might be the case, but I don't buy that Judge Robinson would be
I don't think she
involved
would-
in something
I don't
like
think
that.
she
I
would.
What if it's not her choice though? I mean, what I'm saying is they might not have said, so we're going to have a
That's true.
conspiracy.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
And you're going to be a part of it. But what if they were like, we're going to have you contribute, and we want to hear what you have to say, and we're going to take that counsel into consideration, and we're going to make our
But they've
judgment.
already decided.
But they've already decided.
That's
Or
certainly true.
They might not know the exact game or anything, but they already know essentially how this is going to go.
Because out of all of this, it just seems like because Jimmy and D. Haslam have never seemed pressed. Like I mean, they have not seemed pressed, nervous. There's no comments. There's nothing.
Well, they're not making any appearances.
They
and they're
weren't even
laying
at
low.
the press conference.
No, they weren't.
Remember they made that like
They weren't
weird
even in
little,
the country,
they made like
were
a
they?
weird Zoom call from
Yeah.
Switzerland or something, and it was just like the two of them trying to work a Zoom.
was-
and that was all
Well,
we've
they
heard
weren't
from.
really in Switzerland.
And
were they?
that's no, not at all.
Because that would be even better.
That's
they
the
were out of the
exact-
country, though. I think.
Yeah, but it was something like that. But then that's really all we've heard from them.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah, they have really been laying
Yeah.
low on that, and it's probably smart to just.
Well, there's no point in them saying anything right now, frankly.
No.
What would they say at the moment? You're
Yeah,
waiting for it.
they said their 2 cents, and then that
Yeah.
was about it.
Yeah.
But
Can we say our 2 cents about the home run derby?
Yeah. Wait. What McNuggets?
I said home run derby. It's time to move on.
Yeah, it is time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the home run derby last night. I love baseball. I love watching guys hit balls 450 feet. I was bored by it.
Oh, it sucks. I stopped
just-
watching it.
I was extremely bored by it.
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with my fans
Yeah,
here
turn the
and
channel.
our fans here.
Turned it off.
No, I'm going to do more of a confession. I felt like I had to watch because Jose Ramirez was in it, and
Yeah.
he's a local guy. But I'm not going to lie. I love Jose.
Yeah.
I was rooting for him to lose because I didn't want to watch it anymore. I'm going to be
Jeez.
honest.
Wow. Okay.
Be mad at me if you will. I love Jose. I don't care who wins the home run derby. The home run I love baseball. The home run
No
derby
Cleveland
sucks.
players ever won it, so I was rooting for.
of course
it.
I want to win. But why didn't you guys just watch it like I did this morning in a 4-minute edited
It's
package that some
smart.
geek put together
You're
for
right.
us? And then it's just like clack, 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 and you don't have to hear like, oh, the wind is
I mean,
really
the
blowing
stupid
in from left
announcing-
field.
It's the real life drama of it.
It's 4.5
If there
hours.
were real drama, you have to have drama, not just the setting for
Can
drama.
there be drama when there's 4.5 hours?
Right.
Why do they
Yeah.
do 3 minutes? And then why is there bonus time?
I know.
Here's
And by
my
the
thing.
way, if
It is-
Schwarber tanked for Pujols, which I don't think he did, I think
No,
he
I
just
don't
had
think
a
he
bad
did either.
day.
He was just struggling.
Who cares?
Wait,
Yeah,
Bill,
he
I
was
have a
crap.
question for you. This was the most confusing part of the derby yesterday. They give you 3 minutes on the clock and then a guaranteed 30-second bonus. Why not just
it
call
wasn't
3:30?
guaranteed. You had to hit one for.
Nope. The first 30 seconds was guaranteed. The second 30 seconds was hitting 2 home runs over
Oh, it was to give him
440
a second
feet.
swing break. I gotta tell you, for anybody that's ever swung a bat 50 times in 2 minutes,
Right.
dude, it's exhausting.
That's what I'm saying. Why do they
It's
give him that much
physically
time?
exhausting. So
Do
I
60
know,
seconds.
Well, you have to understand it's a made-for-TV event. They need it to go 4
Barely.
hours because it gives
Yeah.
them all the commercial inventory.
Right.
Why? Because ESPN's losing their shirt on the baseball deal. So anytime they can
right.
have a bake sale and make money,
Yeah.
they do it.
But are they
Baseball
getting
makes-
ratings?
No, but they're getting some ratings for it. And
Right.
baseball makes all their money. Their TV partners make all their money in playoff baseball.
Right, sure.
That's where they're making their money.
Yeah.
And special events like this. Home run derby, all-star game. If you notice, they also they teased the start of the Derek Jeter 7-part miniseries.
Right.
And they held that
7
until
parts.
after last night. It's basically the Michael Jordan thing all over again, Last Dance.
Only way less interesting, probably.
Yeah, Jeter is sort of the Michael Jordan equivalent to baseball, but there's not nearly the interest
He's not
in
as,
Jeter.
listen, the Yankees obviously have a huge fan base.
Only if he comes out and rips A-Rod. If he's not,
They
He's
ran
not
a
Michael
clip last
Jordan.
night in the All-Star game, in the Home Run Derby, where they do discuss the beef between the two of them. And the clip they ran, which was really telling, A-Rod says in the clip, he goes up to Jeter and said, "Hey, are you good?" And we don't know what it was in reference to. While he was saying that, they were showing the time where Jeter and A-Rod collided at 3rd and short on a pop-up, and they both looked at each other like, you're an idiot. So I don't know that that's specifically what they were talking about, but they ran the clip of A-Rod saying to Jeter, "Hey, are we good?" And Jeter's response was, "I don't know." and when I saw that, and I'm paraphrasing, that's not the exact, but when I saw that, I'm like, whoa. So
that's about as controversial as it gets.
Exactly.
For Jeter.
They found an inflammatory clip
There's one
to
other
pull.
thing. So the stories of him giving women gift bags to go home is legendary amongst athletes and fans. I want to see if they address that, and they better. But the other thing I want to see is there's another clip in the trailer that they ran that caught my attention. Jeter said, "Had there been cell phones during my career, I wouldn't have lasted 3 years in the league."
Yeah.
So, on the surface, he did a magical job of making everybody think that he was Mr. Squeaky Clean and I'm never going to get married because right now baseball is the most important thing to me. I think there are some ghosts there and some skeletons there that hopefully are revealed.
If he has like final cut on this thing, or he's involved
imagine
in
he
it that
does.
much, then he's not.
But
There's not going
kudos
to be
to him
anything
at
great.
least for not getting married, because athletes like to play the field, and so don't get married.
And he did.
Yeah,
And the
which
gift
is
bag,
nothing wrong with that.
the gift
Nothing wrong
bag is
with
a
it at
very
all.
nice touch.
And back then,
Who doesn't like some hand soap?
And it
on
wasn't just the gift bag.
Or like a new watch.
It was when the liaison was complete.
Yeah.
At his discretion, whether that's at 3 in the morning or 7 in the morning or 10 the next day.
You know what
Yeah.
He would say, "There's a car waiting for you downstairs to take you home." This is the legend. And the women would go downstairs, and there would be a nice town car, black car service, ready to take them home.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the Iron Man movies?
Yeah, I would like that. I would really like that. Just a half-hour special just on the gift bag thing, and I don't need to see the rest of the Jeter thing. I don't need to see.
It's definitely for Yankee fans.
Yeah.
And so it'll get a huge
I'll
rating
tell you,
because of that.
Yeah, sure.
Man, I'll tell you what, man. Listen, it may sound crazy, but he understood the game. Same
Same as LeBron.
If you out here and you're a single man, you want allegations?
LeBron did it the other way.
You want allegations, or you want somebody saying that you did something? He treated all of his girlfriends as if they were the only one. Like, there's no text messages of him saying, "I hate you." Nobody comes forward. You know why? Because he treated them well.
There's never been a bad word said about the guy.
No, he's.
That I can think of.
But I'm interested.
That's
to
impressive.
See it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'll watch it all, but I'm interested to see it. Okay, so the recap of the home run derby. Yes, Jose lost in the first round to Juan Soto, the eventual champion. Jose did not hit the ball hard. He did not hit the ball far.
Well,
he lost
here's
18.
the thing about Jose.
No, his farthest home run was 420 feet.
And here's the thing about Jose, and it's why part of the reason why I was like, I just wish he'd be done, because he wasn't even I shouldn't say he wasn't taking it seriously. He's a much better power hitter from the left side.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that
And
too.
because of the thumb, he hit from the right side.
Right, which put him
so
at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah.
He lost 18-17. Soto, he pushed Soto, who was the eventual winner.
Imagine though going all that way, coming in second when you're batting not with your strong side. Like you somehow get that.
Well, and Soto had to. I didn't think Soto was going to beat him. He had to hit like 3 or 4 late.
Yes, he did. He had to come
there.
from behind, and he needed those extra. To your point about you could earn another 30-second bonus.
Yeah.
If you hit one over 450.
You had 2 over 440, and you got an extra 30 seconds bonus.
So Ramirez lost in the first round to Juan Soto. Albert Pujols advanced to the semifinals at 42 years of age. When he was in a groove there in his second go-round, I think he hit 6 or 7 in a row out.
Yeah.
That was fun to watch. Soto, at 23 years old, wins it. He defeats Julio Rodriguez.
Who's even younger.
Diehard baseball fans know who this guy is. He's got
phenomenal.
like 15 home runs at the break.
The average fan has
He's
no
a rookie. The average fan doesn't know about him yet.
Honestly,
yet.
yes.
So I saw
But
him.
guys, he hit 81 home runs last night.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Jay.
And Soto, who won it, only hit 53.
I don't want to go down. I don't want to
runs.
go down this road too far, because obviously not that interesting a topic for that many people. But if Julio Rodriguez were a football player or a basketball player, everybody would know who he was. He's equivalent to that. He is
Jamar
having
Chase,
a magnificent
yeah, but
year.
Jamar Chase just got slammed by.
Yeah, that's a mistake, though. But every football fan knows who Jamar Chase is.
Yeah, they do.
Garrett, honestly, I don't say this.
Well, he plays in
Mike just said he
Seattle.
doesn't know who Julio Rodriguez
So-
is.
I
You know who he is?
No.
Like, nobody knows who
Here's
he
why.
is.
He plays in Seattle.
Yeah,
The
at
team's
all.
not relevant. They're playing all their games when we're in bed,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
And he's a rookie. I will say this. Next year, the All-Star game is in Seattle.
It
He'll
is,
come
yeah.
in as the overwhelming favorite to win that thing. He hit 81 home runs.
That's crazy.
81
Yeah,
last
that's
night.
crazy.
Soto won it and hit 53.
What percentage of diehard Guardians fans know who he is? Diehards.
Diehards probably know who he is because a
5%.
diehard follows not just the Guardians, they follow baseball.
Yeah.
I consider myself a diehard Guardians fan. I knew who he was coming in. But I
fun.
learned a lot more about him last night. His parents really pushed when he became part of the Mariners organization.
Yeah.
They told the Mariners, we want him to be fluent in both languages. We want him to continue his education. So I learned more about his life and who he is and where
Yeah.
he comes from.
Because they had to fill
They
4
should be a-
hours.
Because they had to fill 4.5 hours.
So, like, and here's his high school.
Does anybody
in the
know?
8th grade.
Does anybody know the story about the Mariners the last couple of weeks?
No.
What story?
They've
They're
won
on
14
fire.
in a row.
Oh, yeah, they have a 14-game win
winning.
streak.
They've won
I thought-
14 in a row. Like,
yeah.
how many people even know that?
I thought there
Well,
was something
again-
juicy. Somebody killed
Yeah.
someone or
No,
something.
I did too. I thought, wait,
I'm like,
what they do?
ooh.
Yeah.
No, but I think, again, the reason for that is
funny,
that
man.
there's just in baseball more than
Yeah.
any other sport. When West Coast teams play in the NFL, we still
Yeah.
all
Right,
those
right,
games happen when we're awake.
Right,
Yeah.
not at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, the Dodgers, the Angels, the Mariners, the Giants, the A's. Like, can you name 2 starting pitchers for any of those teams other than the
Don't put us in
Dodgers?
this position. Do you,
Yes, I can name all the
Well,
starters.
you're a
I know you
National League
can.
guy, though. And
No,
yeah.
I keep track. I'm
He's
a
baseball
nerd.
Rain Man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
can Seattle, can they sustain this?
I think they have the longest postseason drought in all of baseball. The last time they went to the playoffs, not win a playoff, was 2001 was the last time they went to the playoffs.
Guys, we have way gone over our Seattle
Sorry.
Mariners threshold in one
I do
episode.
think they,
so
I
let's,
do think they
let's
can
get to
sustain
some
We're gonna
home
lose
runs.
all the
Mikey's
Mariners.
right.
some
Mikey's
cool
right.
memes
Mikey's
from
We
right.
do. We have
Derby?
some great memes, and
Yeah.
the first one happens to be Seattle Mariners related. So, Steve, let's punch up
Yes.
tag board real quick.
They're back.
Did you guys see Ken Griffey with the old man
That
camera?
was awesome.
You know what?
yesterday
Love
at
it.
the
I did.
Derby?
It's like a
Yeah.
70s spy.
By the way, I was just kind of taken aback at Griffey's appearance.
He's heavy.
Man, he's really let himself go.
He stopped playing baseball.
Baseball players were never the peak of like Adonis
Well, Ken
body
Griffey
part.
Jr. was a great athlete.
Yeah.
When Griff played,
I
Do
mean,
you think he
He
has
was
that
a
size?
specimen.
Do you think he has a camera that big to try and downplay how much weight he's gained? He's just like, does this make me look
makes him look
skinnier?
smaller holding the big camera.
man, I mean, he's not.
Interesting.
No,
Yeah.
he's fine. He just looks like a normal grown-up dude now,
Yeah,
as
he's
opposed to
awesome.
being
Yeah,
I
I
love
just
Ken.
was shocked by it because he
Hey,
was always.
I love Ken
It
Griffey.
is
Picture of
jarring when you
fitness.
see somebody after you ever
We
seen
got
for
a couple
few
more.
years.
This is Kyle Schwarber potentially after his disappointing round 1 performance.
Yeah, it was disappointing. I gotta say, he was grounding. He was hitting balls on the ground,
Yeah.
and nobody does that in home run derby.
Which is weird because he's such a great power hitter.
He really is, and they made the point last night during the competition. This is an unbelievable stat. One
Yeah.
out of every 4 balls he hits in the air is a home run.
Yeah, Kyle Schwarber is like the new
Wow.
Adam Dunn. It's like a home
Yeah.
run,
All
walk,
or nothing.
strikeout. That's
All or
what he
nothing.
does. And
Yeah.
he walks a lot like Dunn did.
Did you have any other memes?
We got 2
Did
more.
you find any
This
Jose
is-
Ramirez memes?
What'd you say?
No Jose Ramirez memes?
We had one, but I don't want to make fun of him because he's our
cool.
guy. He's our
Yeah,
guy.
I don't want to cap on.
This is Pete Alonso. He was going for the 3-peat, did not succeed.
Look at this guy.
Okay, that's a reference to the shot they took before his defeat in the semifinals. They took a shot of Pete Alonso underneath the stadium, who, by the way, was like acting like this was the Super Bowl. Headphones on, focused. Everybody else is out there
Right.
having a great time.
Drinking.
They take a shot of him in the weight room doing I think squats or
doing
deadlifts or something.
Hey, good for him. He wants to take it seriously.
I know.
I'm not
but
going to kill him.
You
for
know
that.
what?
I will.
Yeah.
He's won it 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
There's going to be a point in his life when he looks back and says, I should have been more in the moment.
Yeah, probably,
Everybody,
but-
to me, the scene of the night was when Pujols came off after they thought he was eliminated.
Yeah.
And every single All-Star
Yeah.
spontaneously surrounded him, and
Yeah.
it was a love fest for
That
Pujols.
guy's an all-timer.
Does that help their contract if you win a home run derby? Do you think that helps in your negotiations?
You get a bonus.
with
You
your
get $1
agent?
million.
By
But
the
I'm
way-
talking with your agent, your next contract. Can your agent
don't
go in
think
and be
so.
like,
No.
and he won the home run derby? Does
No.
that help at all?
No.
No, zero.
No.
But how about this? sorry to go back to the Mariners for 15 seconds, but Julio Rodriguez finishing second in the home run derby will make more money for that than he will get paid for the entire season.
Wow. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
They talked about that Soto, and this is where we're going next.
Yeah.
And we have one Soto meme, though.
Okay,
punch
show that
tag,
one.
where this is my favorite one.
That's because he may not be with the team in 2 weeks.
He's gone in 2 weeks. He's absolutely gone.
Enjoy the moment.
I don't buy he's going to get traded.
Yeah,
up.
so let's set it up this way.
Yeah.
Juan Soto was off. He's 23 years old. He's I think the premier player in the game today.
One of them, certainly in the conversation.
I got to tell you, I would love it if this guy was on my team. It would make me very happy.
Yeah, sure.
So he was offered a $440 million total package contract for 15 years. It's just under $30 million. Yeah, reportedly.
Yeah.
And I think it's been reported by so many, and the agent certainly didn't shoot it down, and the agent that he has would have if it wasn't true.
Yeah.
The contract's worth just under $30 million, $29.9 million annually. But what was really interesting to me was the length of the contract.
Right.
15 years. You just don't see that, and the reason you don't see that is because players don't come up for their second contract usually until they're 25 or 26. Nobody wants to invest at the earliest.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to invest in someone past their 38, 39 year.
Right. And that would have been the largest contract total money ever. Not average, but total money ever.
So it got me to thinking, is any player in baseball, and by the way, the money Deshaun Watson got guaranteed is close to that.
No, what are you talking about?
What,
$230 million.
I'm talking about per, if you're talking about per year.
Well, quarterbacks are
his
worth.
is for 5 years. So if you times that by 3 to get to 15 years, it would have been $700 million.
Right, but a great quarterback is worth a lot more than any baseball player.
But is any baseball player
I don't think
worth $30 million a year?
I don't think so, no.
I mean, you'd know better than I would.
That's the going
don't
rate. So listen, you're worth what anybody's willing to pay you. But one baseball player, no matter how good he is, I mean, look at the Angels. You said Soto's the best player in baseball. I think Shohei Ohtani's the best player in baseball.
Yeah, because he does so much.
Because he does both.
By the way, I said that earlier this year, and you were like, "No, he's not." I said, "Yeah." I said, "No." You said he's not. He's not top of either one of his categories.
And
I want to play that tape. I don't know. But anyway.
You did.
But so they have 2 out of the top 10 players, and they still suck.
And they're horrible every year.
But to your point, I mean, when there's no salary cap, if you got the right Russian oligarch or something like that owning your team, then just, you can show
but
$1 billion.
The better way to phrase it is, because you're right, you're worth whatever anybody will write a check for.
Yeah.
Better way to phrase it is, are you of value? I mean, I pulled some numbers that we can talk about this after you guys go around, but $30 million, that's basically what Frankie was asking the Indians, now Guardians, for. And there were fans in this fan base that thought the Guardians blew it by letting him get away.
Well, I thought they should have paid him at the time. Now, obviously, right now, because I don't buy this idea that the Guardians can't afford to have a significantly higher payroll.
Thank you.
I think it's nonsense.
They could, but the facts, it's still a short sample size.
Yeah.
But the player we got for him, one of the players we got for him, who makes less than $1 million a year.
I get that, but it doesn't always work out that way. Usually it doesn't work out that way when you make those trades.
But this one did.
Well, but we didn't know that at the time.
No, but here's what I did know.
Yeah.
A franchise of this size, market size, small market, if they pay one player $30 million, they become the Detroit Tigers.
Only because they're unwilling to raise the payroll to a certain level that they can but refuse to.
They're unwilling to because the market semantics dictate they don't have that kind of money.
I don't believe that.
Well, I know you don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
But when the Dolans took on an owner a couple of weeks ago, they took on that owner because they're not fluid. Everybody says, oh, the Dolans are worth $1 billion. Yeah, the team they own is worth $1 billion. They don't have fluid assets like that.
Well, we don't know what they have.
Well, take a look at what they're spending.
Right, but they may just be spending that because they don't want to spend. My theory is the Yankees could have a $500 million payroll.
I don't know what Dolan's finances are.
Right, nobody knows. But this idea that I don't believe. Nobody puts their books out there. We have no idea how much money.
We don't.
Right. So in my opinion, they could afford to spend almost whatever they want. I think, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's how I see it.
I strongly disagree.
So not as much as the Yankees.
They're not taking on another owner if they don't need the financial help. That's what that move is about.
Do the Yankees not have any minority owners?
I can't tell you what the.
I don't know.
I
I never. When a billionaire tells me he doesn't have enough money to spend, even a multimillionaire, I will never believe it.
That's your prerogative.
I kind of compare it to this. If I'm starting a restaurant, right? I'm messing around, I'm getting a restaurant. And I tell the people that come in, hey, you know what? I really ain't got it yet. I really ain't got it yet. So my waiter's going to be terrible. My food is going to be C+. It's not going to be great. And my service is going to be a little shabby because I don't have enough people to staff, right? So when people come in your restaurant, your first impression is, let me look at the decor. Oh, man, it's kind of drab in here. I don't really like the food, and I got slow service. They may not come back.
Not a good product.
They may not come back before you can even get the money in the coffers to spend to go ahead and elevate your stuff, right? So it's a catch-22. It's like, hey, I really want people to show up and come to the ballpark and patronize my team, but your fans and your fair weather fans, it's not the diehards that get it. It's the people on the outside, the tertiary guys.
How'd that Nolan Arenado trade turn out for the Diamondbacks?
Listen, how did any of these $30 million
or for the Rockies? I'm sorry.
I'll tell you right now why I love that the Indians did not sign Frankie. The top 10 players in baseball right now, paid, top 10, have won combined 6 World Series. None of them have won more than 1. Garrett Cole.
Yeah, but Garrett Cole's been on the Yankees 1 year.
I know he has.
Yeah.
But he won 1. He's the second highest paid player in the game.
Right, but he only became that when he signed with the Yankees.
All of these guys became that after they had their breakout season. Frankie's got his contract because he took a mediocre franchise with a subpar payroll to the World Series, and he was the face of that franchise. Right, so but when you look at this list, all of these guys, Mike Trout, third highest paid player in the game, he's never won a playoff game.
Let me ask you a question with those people right there. Where I would like to see a correlation between the amount of money they make and attendance.
Yeah, that's not apples to apples because all of these play in big markets. First, I'll read the cities: New York, L.A., Minnesota, and experts are killing them for making that Correa deal because it's just in a market like Minnesota, it's hard to monetize that. The other ones: Washington, L.A., New York, L.A., Texas, who went on a spending spree that all of baseball was shocked by. What are they doing? And then St. Louis, Nolan Arenado.
Here's a real question.
But
and those guys, and are any of those guys not performing?
Some of these guys, Frankie Lindor is not performing to a $34 million a year.
This is a larger question.
Well, he's having a borderline all-star
year. Not having a $34 million.
Larger question about the salary cap.
$34 million a year season.
Larger question about the salary cap. You guys educate me.
Yeah. There is no salary cap.
The lack of salary cap. The lack of salary cap.
There's a tax.
About how they fund these teams.
Yeah.
And my question is, should any of these owners, when you know that you have to have a lot of money to put into this if you want to get some kind of a, should any of these owners willingly go into this, knowing that your livelihood is dependent upon the success of your baseball team in order to get by? These should be luxury. These should be yachts for rich guys.
Well,
these should be toys.
There should be a salary
for
floor
the same
in
reason
baseball.
for the same reason that Elon is going to space for no damn reason because he's rich and bored.
Right.
Rich dudes or people should own these teams and then just fund them for our enjoyment.
So here's
why are we like, oh, we got to sell more hot dogs?
But here's the
come on,
problem with that.
Ridiculous.
You're talking about a group of people. They do have a very strict, before anybody becomes an owner, they are vetted up one side and down the other. Mark Cuban was a guy that wanted desperately to own a team. He wanted to buy the Cubs.
Right.
And Cubs fans wanted him to buy it for the very reason you're talking about.
Yes.
This dude will win. We saw what he did with the Mavericks. He's going to come in, spend a lot of money, get the best players, and we're going to finally win a World Series. Major League Baseball said, not the kind of guy we want to do business with. Remember, Mark Cuban was very
puts pressure on the other owners, the cheap owners to spend more money.
No, that's not why.
There it is.
The Dolans are like, we don't want him in the mix.
No, that's not why he didn't get approved. He didn't get approved primarily because at the time, he's changed I think his persona is much different now than it was. You'll remember a time when Mark Cuban was getting fined $1 million per episode, and it was like nothing. He was flipping off the refs. He was making disparaging comments about the refs.
Yeah, but
sounds like a fun owner.
And baseball owners said, we don't want someone that's going to tear our sport down from the inside.
As usual, baseball was stupid. They should have brought Mark Cuban.
I couldn't agree more. I wish they would have.
And I agree that that's a big part of why they didn't. But I also think it's because the cheap owners said he's going to put pressure on us to spend money.
Bad.
Look,
I like that.
The notion,
don't get in the game if you can't afford to be in the game.
Yeah.
Well, the notion that these guys with that kind of money are falling out of trees that are interested in buying pro sports teams, because for the most part, pro sports teams are losing ventures until you sell. These guys
Like
are
a boat.
owning them for one reason. Well, a couple of reasons, but one main reason is their egos.
Mm-hmm.
They
But
want to
how do we know that, Jay? How do we
well,
know that?
just history. Why is Jerry Jones owner of the Dallas Cowboys? What does Jerry Jones love more than anything in the
Right.
world? He's never met a camera he wouldn't stop and talk to.
But he hasn't made a ton of money.
Now, then you've got guys like the Rooneys and the Maras, and
Yeah.
even in baseball, there are other ownership groups. And I think our ownership group, I know that they take a lot of heat for not spending money. They own a team the way an owner should. Find good people that know the business and empower them to do
I
their
have
jobs.
always given the Indians, now Guardians, credit. They hire good people
Totally.
and stay out of their way.
Their front
However,
office is the best in baseball.
However,
If they had some money.
it's one of the best. I don't know if you clearly say it's the best. I mean, Tampa Bay's done even more with less.
Tampa Bay is right there with the Guardians.
Tampa Bay's
in
done
my
more
view.
with less.
In my view.
Tampa Bay's had a lower payroll than the Guardians every year for the last decade, except for one.
Yeah, they have.
So I would put them number one, but it doesn't matter. It's semantics.
It
because
is.
The Guardians
I'm not
are-
trading our front office for anybody.
No, you
I'm
wouldn't.
not.
They're right there. It's one of the elite front offices in
Definitely.
baseball.
But you know how
However, the owner deserves, credit for that.
Yeah.
He deserves a ton of criticism
Yeah.
for his lack of spending,
However,
including recent
and
years.
this is my stat that I always use
Yeah.
when I defend the Dolans, but it's true, so I'll use it again. No team for the last 10 years in the American League has won more than the Guardians.
Yeah, but 10 other teams have won the World Series, and the
Of
Guardians
course they
haven't.
have, because that's the ultimate prize. But as
Yeah.
you know, when
Yes.
you get into that, it's a crapshoot. You don't know what's going to happen when you get to the playoffs.
I
The
hear
best
ya.
team does not always win.
But but they have only won one round of. They've only gotten past the first round of the playoffs once.
I would also say when you talk about they're not making money, or they don't really make any money till you sell. If you're doing investments, there's some investments that you do. Most investments aren't liquid. You're not getting monthly income from investments.
Right.
These are long-term investments.
Yeah, they're not making money. Trust me. The Dolans are not making money.
But when you cash out, watch this. When you cash out, you bought it for what? 300? Would that be
Sure.
300? They're going to get 1.5, 1.6
And
billion.
that's what to my point at the beginning. These guys are buying these teams knowing that they're going to have to lose and use a lot of their own money. But at the end of the rainbow, when they sell, that's when
So
they
we should
really
not feel
cash
bad
out.
for them.
No.
then.
No,
We
I
shouldn't.
don't feel bad for any owner that claims to be losing money.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I personally don't believe
But
it. Nobody can prove it
when
to me
you look at the
that they're
local,
losing money.
I don't think I don't think any team should have
Yeah.
a geographic advantage. I think if you really want to create a fair league, and this is why the NFL is the most popular league, they've never left markets behind. And by that, I mean by splitting the national TV money 32 ways, everybody has the same chance. And there's a limit on what you can spend. That makes the NFL relevant in 28 of the 32 cities every single year.
I agree.
Although more teams have won a World Series, more different teams have won a World Series than the Super
And
Bowl.
that goes to my point that it's
Yeah.
a crapshoot.
Good bet.
Anything can happen once you
some
get
degree,
there.
yes.
But in the NFL, I think in large part the best team usually, not always, usually wins. But not always.
What you got, McNuggets?
Go ahead, McNuggets.
Speaking of the Guardians,
Yeah.
we are still giving away some phenomenal prizes to some upcoming
nice.
Guardians games
I don't know
early
how we
next
stay in
month.
business.
Make sure you guys head over to wkyc.com/contest. Give us your email address. Give us the information that you need to subscribe, that you need to enter this contest with. Then subscribe. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. The first place prize gets a 4-pack of tickets and some autographed swag to the August 5th game against the Houston Astros.
So when do we
4-pack
announce
of
the
tickets.
winner?
The contest ends on Friday, so you
Okay.
have 3 more days.
Okay.
Nice.
So act
Go.
fast.
Nice.
Act
Make
fast.
sure you
So act
subscribe.
fast. And then subscribe.
Click
and then
on the
like us
alerts.
Twitter and Instagram.
And is any
then
of the
you
player
win.
memorabilia going to be Austin Hedges?
TBD. We're
TBD.
working with
We'll
Curtis.
see.
If you request an Austin Hedges thing, I'm sure we can make that happen.
You think?
So, with that being said, it's a little good bet, bad bet. We didn't get to it yesterday, but we do have the results. And Jay, with an emphatic 3-0 day.
What about Friday? We don't have the Friday results either.
I
What's
think I
going
was
on?
3-0 Friday, too.
I don't have Friday's results in
All
front
right,
of me
what's
right
the
now.
total standings?
But we do have yesterday's results. Bull, you went 2-1. Jay went 3-0. G. Bush 1-2, which brings us to the standings, which is very interesting once again. Bull's pulling out to a big lead here.
I mean, that's a commanding lead right there.
Yeah, but you know what? G. Bush had one even bigger, and like
Yeah.
3 days later it was gone.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I was playing with you
Life
guys
comes
the
at you
first few weeks.
fast.
And then all of a
Wait a
sudden,
minute. Mike Polk has the lead.
Yeah.
Enough of this nonsense.
I still know what I'm doing.
Like, you've got enough at-bats to be qualified. You're 67.
Well, I've made 76 more picks than Mike.
I know, but
That's
you know
absolutely
what?
true.
At some point, the body of work has to speak for itself.
Yeah,
here.
he's getting close.
He's made more than 50 bets.
Well,
I
I
think
made
Tyvus has had the same record for 3 months.
he does.
He's here one day a week, the slacker.
Don't bet with Brad. I'll tell you that.
I made
No,
some.
bet with Brad.
Bet
against
Yeah,
Brad. Whatever
but you want to
Brad
make
says,
bets
you go
with
opposite.
Brad.
Yeah, that's
I'll
true.
bet you, Brad.
Yeah, right.
I'll
that's
take
right.
whatever you don't like. I'll take.
Yeah, right.
So today's bets are all based on tonight's American League versus National League All-Star game. 2 Guardians starting. Jimenez, the youngest starter in the infield in quite a while. I don't have the exact number in front of my face, but we'll pull that up in a sec. The first
He's our
bet,
new
the
Frankie
American
Lindor.
League underdog by a 1.5. Let's take it, Steve. Coming. We're using tag board today for this, so we're a little, might be a little backwards.
Hey, you take your
Where'd
time,
tag
tag
board go
board.
in?
Tag
We're
board
not
working
trying to
great.
hurt you.
There we go. It's
Wow.
up. And you guys agree.
Oh, we're all
Agree.
It's
American
unanimous,
League.
guys.
No blood, no foul here.
The next 2 is not unanimous, though. Anthony, let's go to the next bet. Over 11.5 strikeouts for the AL pitching staff. Bull and G.
Yeah.
Bull and J, excuse me, on one side, G and Polk on the other.
Well,
This
guys who know about baseball voted the different way, G.
Yeah, I mean, 12 is a lot.
doesn't
and
bode well.
I really thought about that for a long time
Yeah.
because for me, a great game for a pitcher is 10 strikeouts. But when you deal with the idea, when you have the idea that you're getting fresh arms every inning, you're going to
2
get
innings is the
everybody's
most.
best.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking
There's always a lot of strikeouts in
Yeah.
All-Star games in recent years. Yeah.
And especially because baseball's turned into a all or nothing game.
That's right.
Guys don't mind striking out nearly as much as they once did.
The guy who knows the whole Seattle lineup just disagreed with me, so I think I'm probably screwed on that one.
And this is the last one, the same splits. It's still Bull and J, G and Polk on the same team here. Will
Come on,
Jose
Bull, I can't pick up any ground if you keep changing my pick or taking my pick.
Hey, look, we're going to be right on one of those.
Yeah.
And so it's all going to end up evening out. And you guys, even though you know more, you're still going to be stuck with us back at 2-1.
True.
You're right.
It's true.
I'm going to love it. It's the way life works.
All right, yeah. So five game lead for Bull.
4.
Bull, yes.
But we're all
Careful.
I know.
I don't want any
Bull.
more busted blood vessels in your eye.
I got
You
blood
know-
vessels in my eye. I
was
got
that the
blood
sound-
in my.
Is that the
in my
sound you made this morning?
You know what?
You know your lower body ain't healthy right now.
It's
you gotta
not,
wait,
man.
wake that
Yeah,
out.
don't do any more of those grunts. You're scaring us, Bull.
Bull gonna come in here and with a pamper on. Don't do that.
You remember that? You guys remember back in the day? You remember back in
They could be one of our sponsors.
Hey, shout
love
out
it.
to the pins.
Remember back in the day, there was a Saturday Night Live sketch, and it was a commercial called "Oops, I Crap My
Oh
Pants."
yeah, I do.
That was one of the funniest things ever on Saturday Night Live.
Their commercial skits.
Oh, the best.
You know, Depends. They be having the nerve to have like some old colorful joints. Now they got the boxer briefs and
Really? And it's
I gotta
built
get
into
into
the
those,
shorts?
man.
yeah,
They're really
it's
dressed.
crazy.
I
They-
think I might buy those. This way I don't have to wake up in the night to pee.
Wait.
I'll just pee in my pants.
When we
all
get to
get to that point.
11,000 followers, will you do a show in those Depends? In those shorts?
yeah, yo.
Nah.
That would drive
That'd
you
be
insane.
crazy.
Think of all the crinkling from the audio.
Yeah.
You just hear like.
I
Yeah,
move
that
a
would
lot
not
in
be
the
good,
chair.
Polk.
Does
Thank you
somebody
for
have a
thinking
No
of
problem.
the production side here.
Yep.
Is that a newspaper?
All right, before we do final takes, we have to do one thing really quick.
Yeah.
We have to do the unathletic.
Oh
And
yeah.
on last Tuesday's show, we highlighted a guy at a Guardians game who was beyond impressive, making it up and down the stairs
Right.
12 times
With cowboy boots.
in cowboy
Yep.
boots and
Carrying-
Daisy Dukes.
Tall boy after
That,
tall boy.
American
that
hero.
actually was relatively athletic for something unathletic. Today, I have to shame myself and put myself on the hot seat because I did something beyond unathletic this week.
Nice.
Wow.
I don't buy nice sunglasses. I lose them all the time.
I do too.
I do. So I buy the $5 cheap glasses at Walmart and just rotate through those.
Right.
Until I moved here, and he said, you know what? I got a nice little raise when I got here. I'm going to treat
Treated yourself.
myself.
Yeah, good for you.
So I bought a nicer pair of sunglasses. I went to the beach this weekend.
Uh-oh.
Got you.
I went to Edgewater. And there's always those pickup volleyball games going on at Edgewater.
Yeah.
And I
thought he was
hopped in the
Tom
game and
Cruise.
was playing with a couple people.
See Top Gun.
Yep, exactly. Saw Top Gun. Great
Yeah.
movie. The sequel's better than the original. Very rarely happens, but it was so good. We can talk
Real
about that later.
talk.
There was a lob that came to me perfectly.
Oh man.
And I got cocky. And I went to spike the crap out of this. I swung and missed. It hit my sunglasses. Steve, take the picture.
No!
Here are the sunglasses right here. Here they are. I swung and missed. You can see I broke the side of the sunglasses. They won't reattach.
God.
I am devastated. And to make matters worse, my buddy Afro Pat was in town this weekend.
Wait, what's his nickname?
Afro Pat.
Story, please.
He's
Afro
a giant dude with a
Pat?
giant afro.
Oh, okay.
He's just been Afro Pat. I'll show you a picture after the show.
I
Great
love
guy.
it. I love
No
it.
one gives me more crap for anything than Afro Pat.
Yeah.
And if there was one person I would not want to have been there to see that happen,
It was Afro Pat.
it was he hasn't stopped texting me.
We all
since
have an
being
Afro
like, how
Pat.
you're- Yeah.
Yeah. You better not mess up in front of this
In front of
friend
your
because you'll
Afro Pat.
never hear the end of it.
Yeah,
I'm that friend to allow.
I'm the Afro
So am I.
Pat.
We got 2 Afro Pats.
Why am I
over
not
here.
surprised by that, Bull?
And Mike, too.
Oh yeah, you would never live that down.
Oh, my God.
I was
It
just
was
doing some
embarrassing.
glasses.
I can't. Here's a picture.
By the way,
Can you-
those glasses didn't look that fancy, did they?
Why, I couldn't tell if they were Ray-Bans or Oakleys. What were they?
Hey,
They're
They look
Oakleys.
like they should be like
They
on a
look like
MAGA
Oakleys.
guy's
This is Afro
profile
Pat,
picture.
by the way, guys.
Oh,
This
Afro
is the
Pat's
morning,
bringing it.
But that is Afro Pat. Yeah,
Afro
it's part
Pat
of the
looks.
picture.
I mean, you can barely see him. It's very.
Yeah, it's out of it wasn't focusing for some
Yeah, it
reason.
wasn't. I'll show you guys after the show. But
Why
he's
do you just have a picture of him sitting on the couch in shorts?
That's
'cause
creepy.
he crashed in my place this weekend. He woke up and his afro was half smushed in. 'cause
I
of
got it.
sleep
Does he
on.
have-
It's
does-
It's half Afro Pat.
It look
Half
like he
Afro
got a
Pat, yeah.
hookah. It look like he just ordered them or refurbished hookahs.
That's half-fro Pat.
I like that. That's actually good, Jay. That's very good. But yeah, I had to put myself on the hot seat. I
Nice.
can't believe
So,
I broke
Mike,
my sunglasses.
McNuggets, how tall are you?
5'9".
And you were going up to spike about, I'm assuming at the net.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen the Edgewater court? They're not like full size.
Oh, okay.
It's like a rec. Yeah, it's very
okay.
recreational.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But it was set up perfectly. Like, I don't usually try to spike it, but there was no one in front. I went, and I'm a lefty. I don't know why I tried going righty.
And you missed
I swung and missed. It
completely.
hit me
that's
right in the face,
embarrassing.
broke my sunglasses. And then I had to lie to everyone on the court. I was like, oh, those are fake. Don't worry. And deep down inside, I'm like, nope, that's why.
Would those set you back?
I mean, way more than a.
Why
I
don't-
usually
3 digits
spend.
at least,
You need
right?
to
Yeah, 3
send
digits,
those.
yeah.
You need to send those reject sunglasses back and get your money back.
Say
young
they-
man.
just say they
came
were
that
broken
way.
when you got 'em.
They came full of sand.
Hey man,
Scratches on the
broken.
lens? I don't know how that
I
happened.
can see Mike Polk been at these marks, turning everything back in. I know
100%.
it looked like you would give a manager hell.
Where'd you get those from, Mike?
I'll
Where'd you
take
get them
stuff
from?
that's not even from the
I bought them
store
online.
back.
On Amazon or?
I think, yeah.
How
Amazon.
long
So
ago?
send it back.
How long ago?
When I moved here. This was
Oh,
like
because I was going to say, if it was recently, you can say these just
I
came
mean, it's
in
only
and
been
then
3 months.
someone stepped on
Possibly
this
you too late.
no,
He moved
30
in here.
days?
I'm taking the L.
He been
I gotta
here
take
since
the
it was
L.
cold outside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
and
cold.
Bree just looked into their refund policy. It's 30
No,
days.
you're out of luck.
We do need
I'm
to
out
have a
of luck.
full panel discussion at some point of the new Top Gun, and especially concentrating on not the volleyball game. They played like some weird variety of a football game.
Dogfight football.
Right, it was lame. That part was lame.
I'm fascinated by the rules. I didn't know who
they
was
played
winning
offense
or
and
what.
Oh, it was
defense
a
at the
weird-
same
yeah, it
time.
was a
Made
weird
no
Like,
sense.
they were on offense and
The
defense
movie
at the
was
same
great.
time.
I'm the only one that hasn't seen it, I think.
By the
Have you
way-
seen- you haven't seen it either?
It was great. By the
And Bree
way,
hasn't seen it.
real quick, we won't get into the
movie.
details, but I'm just curious, have any of you guys seen the TV show Severance on
I
Apple
guarantee
TV?
you I
Oh, yeah,
haven't.
of course.
I haven't seen a TV.
Yeah,
yet.
it's great.
You love it?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, we'll talk more
What's it
about
called?
it.
Severance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ben Stiller directed.
Strong recommendation?
Yeah. All
right, very
2
strong.
thumbs up.
All right,
All right,
final
good.
takes. Let's do it.
Final takes.
So, as I mentioned earlier today, I went to the doctor's office, right? I already went into the details of what happened. Nobody needs to hear that again.
No, let's rehash it.
I got blood in my urine, Mike. Woo! For crying out loud. And I had a finger in my you-know-what.
Nice, it's a nice little Tuesday. Nice little Tuesday.
Done. Oh, they had to check my prostate for crying out loud. I'm 50 years old. I never felt older. Oh, Moon River. Anyway. Here's the thing that drives me crazy in the doctor's office. I get so agitated about this. Whenever you go to the doctor, right, the only place, and like, I was Mr. Mask guy. When other people started taking off their masks, I was still wearing one, right? And the doctor's office is the one place you still have to wear a mask, which is fine. This is not about a mask. I'm not complaining about that. But they take extra precautions in the doctor's office. You're wearing masks, you're doing all this. They got the hand sanitizer every inch of the place. But I still have to touch the disgusting pen to fill out the stupid paperwork when I go in. I said to the doctor flat out, you don't read this paperwork. Don't pretend you read the paperwork, you never do. Because I fill out the damn paperwork every time, and then I go in there, and they ask me the same freaking questions that was on the paperwork. Why did you make me fill? What's your birth date? What's your, have you had any surgery? Do you really need to know
What are you
about me
allergic
having
to?
shoulder surgery 30 years ago? Why does that matter? Stop with the paper. First of all, it's 2022. Why do I gotta fill paperwork? Send me something to my phone. I'll do it on my phone. I'll send it back to you. I don't want to touch your disgusting pen that these are the 8 bleep holes already touched. Stop with the paperwork. All doctors, now. That's
Great
it.
point. It's because old people are like paperwork.
Right, it's old people. Old people F up everything.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Your doctor does have an app that you can fill out questions online.
They didn't tell me that.
Well, ask them. They do.
Regardless,
It's 2022.
We've seen a lot of smoke, obviously, through this entire Deshaun Watson thing, filling the air, people whispering in back rooms, I heard this, I heard that, and stuff. And there's this weird sickness that everybody has to be the first to report this when it actually happens. Yeah. It's like it is an illness that runs throughout your circles of sports commentary, frankly, guys.
Yep.
Nobody cares. I mean, in the real world, you guys care. It's so important to find out who finds out 8 minutes sooner, because it's not like that. You guys, by the way, you guys are not, this isn't like Watergate. You guys aren't Woodward and Bernstein uncovering something that will not be discovered if you do not find it yourself. The NFL is going to tell us what the ruling is, but everyone's competing to be like, I got it 4 hours earlier, and then everybody compliments each other and stuff like that about it. It's just a sad, sick thing to watch, and let's just all relax and wait and see what happens. It's so much less stressful, everyone. People bring up, I talked about smoke signals. They were used, Native Americans, tribes used them to communicate with each other, but they can also be used to deceive other tribes. You would say, oh, you see the smoke, that means that we're about to attack. Well, what if we found out what your smoke signals are, this other tribe over here, and now they're throwing that smoke in the air. See, what I'm saying is you can't believe the smoke. Don't believe that your tribe is actually up there signaling you and telling you everything's safe. Don't believe anything. Just wait for the smoke to clear, and we'll all find out what happens.
By the way, now Woodward and Bernstein, it would be fake news.
Yeah, it would. Probably.
Yeah,
Shout out to Bob Woodward. I mean, I think he just predicted he predicted January 6th and all that, right? He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's still on board.
He's still kicking. Let's just get to this. Home Run Derby is the same thing as the Pro Bowl, is the same thing as the dunk contest. I've been giving you answers for these solutions for years. Let's talk about it. Don't have professional athletes doing this stuff. We know they can hit home runs. We see it. We know you can dunk. And we know you're big and strong. But what we'd like to see is people who never do it get a chance to do it. Think about how fun Home Run Derby would be if it was just ninth graders battling for $50,000. I'd watch ninth graders hit home runs, wouldn't you? I'd love to see little elementary school kids be like, did you see that 12th grader? Did you see that guy that was 13 years old? He hit 3 bombs. I would pay to see that. Just like the dunk contest. Don't have LeBron in the dunk contest. What I want to see is LeBron go, and I want him to find the best dunker in Ohio. And then I want Adam Levine to find the best dunker in Chicago. And then they're going to practice all year on their dunks. They're going to train. LeBron's going to put them through training. All that good stuff that LeBron does, lifting those weights and everything, and he's going to increase your vertical, and then you're going to be in a dunk contest for $1 million amongst everybody at All-Star Weekend. People would watch that, right? I'm sure you would, right? Don't have regular people out here in the stands. Put the regular people in the court. I'm giving you an idea because I would watch a regular guy dunk in a dunk contest with doing stuff that he never had done before rather than some players. Just put little kids in there. It always works.
They have those. Yeah. Other dunk contests.
Yeah, I want them at All-Star Weekend. I want them with Shaq and Kobe. No, Kobe wouldn't.
Wow.
Would you guys watch that? I probably wouldn't watch that, but would you?
Probably not.
I
do think a lot of people would.
I think
we're in the minority.
I think younger people would.
Weekend.
I think if you set it up like a reality show type thing and you follow.
I agree with G. I know we're not supposed to discuss. I do agree with G that these things are all tired and played out.
Yeah.
I'd rather see these guys play other sports like dodgeball or flag football.
I like that.
Or getting, somebody mentioned this the other day, like chug a six-pack and then hit home runs.
Yeah.
That'd be more interesting.
Food challenges.
What do you got, Jay?
All right, we were going to do this as a topic, but it fell by the wayside. It was the only topic we didn't get to today. But I made this graphic, so I'm going to use it. Can you guys think of anything that the NFL is ranked last in? Dead last.
All-star games.
That's it.
Accountability? Oh.
Yeah, accountability too. So here's our All-Star Game rankings. We were asked to do these. I can do it to 3, Steve, if you want. I can hold it this way. We were asked to rank the All-Star Games in favor of our favorite one at the top, least favorite one at the bottom. And when I finished my individual rankings, I said to myself, this is the only thing that I would rank the NFL last in. The NFL, in just about everything else, for me, is first. My favorite sport is baseball, but I think the NFL does the sports show better than anybody else. MLB's All-Star Game is my favorite. I think that's the one that I watch every year. I put the NBA second on there. It's close to first. I just love the NBA All-Star Game, and I love the changes they made to the way they score it and how they make the fourth quarter meaningful. I thought that was a really good adjustment by the NBA, one of the best that we've seen. Then I've got the NHL. The NHL All-Star Game doesn't really move my meter at all, but the NFL moves my meter the wrong way.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
So I have to
it
put
hurts
them
the
last.
league.
It hurts the league. It's the only thing. It's the only ritual that they have all year. We look forward to the draft. We look forward to guys running 40s in spandex.
Yep.
Start of free agency.
I'd watch it
The
right
start
now.
of free agency. I would watch it right now,
Yep.
too. The only thing the NFL offers every year that I automatically say, well, I will spend zero time on that, is the Pro Bowl. It's a joke. They somehow, I don't know how they reinvent it. I don't know what the answer is. They don't either, or they would do it. But it's broken, and we all know that. And they really should fix it because the league is better than that.
What's sad is it probably still gets better ratings than the MLB All-Star Game.
You know, it doesn't rate well.
It doesn't?
No, it really doesn't. It really,
No one
and there's been
watches.
talk in the last couple of years of just scrapping it all
Yeah.
together.
And you know what the reason is, obviously? It's that it's impossible to play at that level in football in the way that it is at baseball seriously with each other in something that
Yeah.
doesn't
You
matter.
can't
You can get
half-ass
hurt.
football.
You can't half-ass
Battle of
football.
the Network
You know each
Stars. Let's
other.
go.
Yeah.
I agree
There
with
it
Battle of
is.
the Network Stars.
Yeah.
Get them on trapezes.
What's up tomorrow, Mikey?
Steve, let's take the tag board. We got a big show tomorrow. Big show. How about both of these guys?
Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Both of these guys, plus Charles Robinson, Yahoo.
That's
Insider.
Robert Smith, for those that don't know, on the right. That's Robert Smith.
He just got done doing push-ups.
Yeah, Robert's still put together. Euclid High School legend. Ohio State
Are they coming on
Buckeye
together?
legend.
They're going to do a little crossover, just like Archie
Yeah.
and Leroy last week. This
Okay.
time we got Rob Smith and Leroy crossing.
And they're legitimately good friends.
I'm
Leroy
excited.
and Robert. I'm looking forward to that immensely. Charles Robinson, too. He's been one of the guys who's been out in front on the Deshaun Watson thing
Right.
from jump. Very reputable writer for Yahoo Sports. Looking forward to talking to him about everything that's going on. Other than that, Mike Polk and I are about to go dig some holes.
That's true. We're going to go build a fence.
Yep,
And I'm going to get a
build fence.
massage.
Yeah, opposite things. What are you going to do? Which you want to go with? You want to go with us or
You
him?
can help us put up a fence, or you can go with Bull
Go get a
and
rub
get a
down with
massage.
Bull.
I got a podcast. Go watch Locked On Browns podcast. Subscribe to the channel.
All right, we're out.
Lock it in.
22-hour break. See you tomorrow. We need a GoFundMe page to get him a new pair of sunglasses.
I was